Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, you know what? I attached this incorrectly. I'm going mute for just a second as everybody comes in. Hi. Brought the mic up on the outside of the apron. It's okay, we're fixed. We're ready to go. How is everybody? Everybody good? Hi, welcome. Welcome to the live. Come on in. Let's make some ice cream. Who's ready for ice cream today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, chef. I've been told I look cute today, so the confidence is skyrocketing. Chicken, oh no. Some morning ice cream. Well, see, the thing is though, is it's actually not gonna be ready until it's afternoon ice cream. But we're making it now so that we can have it later. Ice cream, yeah. Yes, Koi Wolf, this is a brown butter bourbon cook-along, ice cream cook-along stream. What a great hair color, thank you. I really like it too. And it's kind of, I've dyed it several times now, so we are kind of getting like an ombre effect where it's like dark and then this is the last color and then this is the last color and it just kind of gets lighter every time. Time to test the bourbon. Are we doing it? It's 100 proof. We're gonna, testing that bourbon before we start would probably be a bad idea. Not prepared to follow along this time? That's okay. That's okay. Hang out, ask your questions. If you do decide you want to make this at a later date, you won't have to worry when it gets to a point where you're like, I don't know what to do at this point and I have questions. Just hang out with me today, ask the questions, and then they'll be ready for you when you go to make this at a later time. Easy.
We don't make mistakes.
Yes, there is alcohol in this recipe. Excuse me, I need to cough. I just swallowed incorrectly. There we go. Good morning, good morning. We're letting everybody get in here, get themselves situated, do everything they need to do. Welcome. Where could we find the recipe we want to make it later? There's a link. You can go to my website, alittlespoon.com. Search for the recipe. It's there. It may still be on the homepage. The recipe is not that old. Like posting of the recipe is not that old, so it may still be on the homepage. Otherwise, you can filter by dessert or just scroll through all the recipes, find it. There's also a link in the description for this live that has the link directly to the website post, and you can find the recipe there. Plus, I'm going to literally be saying all the measurements as we go. So if you watch this entire video, you will also have the recipe, ingredients, and instructions. Get on in here. Do I have anybody on the YouTube side or on my Twitch side that is making the ice cream today with me? Anybody? Chicken Lord, just make sure you disinfect your screen before you do that, okay? No one wants you to get sick. What Chicken said? No!
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Yes, there's a cooking stream. We're excited. I'm going to give like 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. I'll do like an intro and stuff. The very long-winded intro explaining to people that find this video after this. This was alive. There are weird questions. I'm talking to people off camera that don't exist in person. But it is what it is. Hey, and the wife. Are you guys cooking with me today?
Make mistakes.
Or are you just hanging?
We have happy accidents.
It's that guy.
You have to have this up.
No, I'm just rereading it.
Oh,
Why?
you can't see everything.
Yeah.
How many shots in your tea today?
Just one.
Got any last night?
No, but I was actively fatalitying between 3 and 5 a.m. Like doing one of those and like half falling asleep.
Uh-oh. How many come to bed?
5.
5?
Yeah. I started reading a book. It was a problem. I'm in the middle of a book that's really good. And I was actively being distracted by it instead of working last night. It was a problem. Your girls' trip? Why are you watching this during your girls' trip, Mom? No way. Go out, touch grass, enjoy the beach.
Can't touch grass on the beach.
Can't touch grass on the beach. You can if you try hard enough. There's the seagrass. Seagrass. How we function on so little sleep, you don't know. ADHD, anxiety, adrenaline is a good one. We've got a cooking stream today. Adrenaline helps.
Chicken Lord, I'm sad to see that you didn't win Pong last night.
Yeah, I did. Tyler, 3 in a row, a three-peat. I'm so impressed.
Did you watch the video that was in the saloon chat?
No, I didn't.
It shows him, Tyler, and Nate being down
Yeah.
with only 1 cup.
Oh.
And they hadn't hit any of theirs, and they came back.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay. You have the same induction burner? Yeah. I do really like this cooktop. I'm slightly worried about it today. I will probably mention it during the live stream.
Why?
Because I don't know the temperature controls on this as well as I know my actual stovetop. And we're doing a custard, which means I need to make sure that it does not go over a certain temperature. And this tends to run much hotter than what I'm used to on that one. So we're gonna be extra careful today. And it may take longer for me to make the custard than it usually would, or to thicken the custard than it usually would, just because I'm like gonna err on the side of caution. But
I saw a...
Lep's just eating. He's just eating. He's hanging out, and then he's.
I saw a
Mistakes.
clip
There's a hair on my.
of a streamer whose
Yeah.
hand caught on fire.
Oh no. Okay. On purpose? Where were we doing
No.
flambe? No. Okay.
But it was like the entire oven was filled,
Yeah.
so she couldn't like just push it off. So she freaks out, and like the man, her boyfriend or whoever,
Yeah.
is like trying to figure it out, and it's like this
Dump
big,
flour on it or put a lid on it.
and it gets this big.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And they're like, and then it's this big.
Oh my god.
And
No.
it's starting to hit the the cabinets, like it's gonna catch the whole house on fire.
Oh my god.
And so he takes it and just throws it on the ground.
What the fuck?
And it luckily goes out.
That is lucky. We took it away from the heat source.
Yeah, but you couldn't move it anywhere because all the other things were filled and you couldn't get around it.
Oh my god.
It's like, just put a lid on it.
Yeah, like a lid. A lid would be good.
Put a lid on it.
Oh my god. I have to watch that now. You saw that?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, what was Dado's name tag during Pong? I didn't see it. I don't want them to stream that. It just sucks that we weren't there.
We missed
Like
them.
a private Discord call would be cool where you can just like see everything going on in the background. Because I was working at the
That would
time.
be pretty cool. Yeah.
I could have saw it. Was it on Twitch? I don't know where the cooking thing happened at. The cooking kitchen fire.
Yeah, I don't know.
I saw it reposted somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
One
who
more
I
time.
am? Wow.
One more time. Do I have anybody that is actively cooking with me today, or am I just going for it? It was Kick. Okay.
Oh, hey, babe, we're the same height.
You're still taller than me. even like fully split. There. Now we're the same height.
Aw.
That's weird. Don't do that. Okay.
Are you gonna tell him that
What?
you made this?
My ADHD self, you mean?
Like we already made this?
Yeah, ADHD problems.
No. It's like we already made it. So like after, because you can't eat ice cream right away.
Right. But we will today. We're just gonna eat it when it's like soft serve, not frozen.
Oh, you're not gonna pull out the.
I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, okay. Then why we make that?
Because my notes had a different measurement and I had to know.
Oh.
It was for science. I have this ice cream made with a different amount of toasted milk powder in it because I honestly can't find it anymore. I thought that I found a note. Here, we'll talk about it. I thought I found notes with a version of the recipe that had way more toasted milk powder in it than what I ended up at. And I thought maybe because at one point I rewrote the recipe because I couldn't find my first set of notes. And then I had two sets of notes. And I don't know why. I got it in my head that one of them said that I used a certain amount of toasted milk powder. I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want to confuse myself during the stream.
Don't say it.
And so I was like, well, I have to make it for science to know if the recipe that I'm doing that I have posted online and that I'm going to be actively talking about and like have permanently published on the internet should be the correct one. So for science, I had to make a batch of ice cream yesterday and then lost the notes that I found that had that measurement on it, but I had two separate sets of notes with the correct one that I ended up with. And then I told myself that I was just crazy and had gaslighted myself into thinking that I had whatever. It's fine. And I don't know where those notes are now. So I made a whole batch of ice cream for basically no reason yesterday.
Oh no!
Oh no, extra ice cream. For science. You can go buy ice cream and play along while you cook. You can do that. That is absolutely fine. You can definitely do that. Okay.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah. You don't have the ingredients to cook this. That is okay. That is okay.
Chat, we're about to
You
turn
you can come back and watch this video.
We're about to turn off alerts. So
Yep.
if any resubs or things
Yeah.
you want to
Do it now.
hurry, because I'm going to turn off everything.
If you do plan to make this in the future, or if you feel like this is something you're interested in, and you are here today, even if you don't have the ingredients, ask the questions that you think, like when we get to certain steps and I'm going through it and you have a question, put it into chat, I can answer it. And then when you do go to make the recipe, you'll have your answer ready and waiting for you. So don't be worried. You'll probably, some of the things I'm going to end up saying this at some point, but questions that are asked here may be questions that I hadn't thought to give answers to. And so anything that you have here can help people in the future when they go to watch this video, because they have more information. Sometimes when you cook a lot, putting yourself in the mindset of somebody who's just doing something the first time, it's like you just kind of like miss things. And I try. No, I try the best that I can to be like this, like somebody might have a question about this, or the instructions, like visually it's better to see this because the instructions and trying to write out what you're looking for may be unclear for somebody who's never made something. So I always try to like have that perspective, but I miss stuff.
We talked about that when we were trying to talk about teaching the kids computers.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Old people are like us. Old people are good at computers. These little kids, they're terrible at like a normal Windows computer.
Yeah.
They have no idea about folder structure, drives, and operating systems.
Yeah.
They just know.
And I've not used Windows.
It.
I've not used Windows in over 10 years, and I can still navigate when somebody, like when my family calls me and is like, what do I do? And I'm like, well, what kind of computer do you have? And I can still be like, go to your control panel, go to programs, go to whatever, and like walk them through, even though I've not used that operating system in so long, because you just like, you learned, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Ready.
Lep can relay questions from chat while you show us the cooking. I have chat right here. So I am going to be actively like turning over and looking and talking to you guys. This is a live. I'm treating it as a live. The videos that show up in a playlist are just essentially from intro to outro, and then we have like kind of this, which is our live segment before and after. So yeah, don't worry about that. I'm gonna be reading. Ice cream sandwiches do count. Yep. You don't have to rush. You don't have to rush. So I'm actually starting by making toasted milk powder because I need a quarter cup of it, and I don't have that. I have very little left. So I have to make a batch. Plus, it's a good thing to just not assume people have a pantry item that you have to make and can't purchase from the store.
Ace, good morning, Ash and Ace, welcome.
So I'm gonna be making it. You've got about 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, if you wanna go run out and get your ice cream and then sit and watch. But just fair warning, this is gonna be like a 2.5 hour stream. So you've got plenty of time.
Well, we better get started so we can go to our buddy's house and go swimming with the kids.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay.
Modify the ingredients to include Vex milk. You talk about that
Funny.
Radolorian fluid. Yo!
ASMR.
Lazy L, thanks for 5 gifted subs. Wait.
It sounds better than the can, doesn't it?
Brands.
It sounds better than the can, doesn't it? Oh no!
Stream sparkling in the.
Oh no! Did you just drink some of that? Or
No.
did you just open it? Okay. Sorry, it was very strong. Thank you for the subs!
Okay. Let's get
Yeah.
started.
We're ready. Oop. Yeah.
I have the picture of the recipe up.
Mm-hmm.
You want it up for a couple seconds after the intro? During the intro, or just take it down now?
You have wait. Say that one more time.
I have the picture of the recipe up on the bottom right.
Oh,
Like, just, I was going to keep it up for a couple seconds.
yeah, that's
Start your
fine.
intro
Yeah,
and
you can
take
do
it
it.
away.
That works for me. That works for me. Thanks. Who's ready for a rambly intro?
Make it short.
No, you can't. You gotta explain everything.
Oh.
We exist in the context.
We exist. Oh.
As a person of autistic origin. What bourbon do we choose? I have Old Forester, 100%, or 100%, 50%, 100 proof rye, rye whiskey. I really like it. I prefer rye in this recipe, but you could do like a straight bourbon whiskey or something like that if you want it to be a little on like the sweeter, more caramelly side, which does blend well with the brown butter concept and the ice cream, obviously vanilla. So you could do whatever you can basically go in whatever direction you want. If you wanted to, use Scotch, but it has to be 100 proof. That's necessary, and I will talk about that when we get there, but important. Make some crunk ice cream. It only has an ounce and a half of bourbon in, I guess, what makes 5 to 6 cups of ice cream. We're not going that nuts. We're not going that nuts. Sure. Yeah. I am gonna keep one present. Okay. Gonna just put it behind me or over here. This works. Just because I wash my hands a lot when I'm cooking. So having it next to the sink is probably a better idea anyway. That way I'm not reaching for the paper towel. I use way too much paper towel. And sometimes it's fine because then I can like use it to lay utensils on and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's not the best idea. Yeah. I don't want this in the shot. Okay. Yeah. Actually, you know what I should do? Just before we get started. If you are not currently getting my newsletter, I do have a newsletter. If you go to my website, alittlespoon.com, and scroll down to the bottom, you can subscribe. Just put your first name, I think it's just your first name and your email address, and you will get my newsletter. It goes out at noon today because today is the 1st of the month. It goes out at noon on the 1st of every month. And it basically just has everything I did last month and all the things that I'm working on this month so that you have links to access all of that stuff kind of from one place. It's really kind of a informative and utilitarian kind of newsletter so that you don't have to go searching for stuff all the time and you kind of have a place to come back to if you're like, wasn't she doing something on whatever? Like it's there. So if you are interested in getting that newsletter and you're getting like recipe links and stuff like that, up and coming stuff in your inbox, I would suggest that you go ahead and sign up so that it gets sent to you. If you're interested. Scroll to the bottom? Yes. I feel like these contacts are not as strong as I need them to be. I think my vision's getting bad, getting worse. Like the letters on my screen right here are kind of blurry. It's not great. It's the contacts. Okay. Carrie Old. Hi. Hello. Okay, now that I've done that, Now that I've done that, I'm wondering if the scheduled thing will actually update based on the people who are subscribed. Signing up now? Nice. Cool. Hey, honey. We ready to ramble? Ready to ramble. That's kind of cool. Okay. Do you want me to like 3, 2, 1 this? What are we? Yeah. Hi, and welcome to the A Little Spoon Kitchen. Today we are making brown butter bourbon ice cream. I've got a lot going on. We're going to attempt to do the start, get all of the ingredients in, all the way to actually churning the ice cream and getting it into a separate container to put into our freezer today. So all the way through the last step. I have a shortcut to help kind of skip that chill time that is usually necessary when you are making a custard-based ice cream. This is not a no-churn ice cream. This is full-on egg yolk, all the things that we get scared about when making custard and temperature and all that stuff. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it, and we're gonna have a good time. This recipe does have one of my favorite ingredients. My Patreon members are getting really frustrated with me. It's got toasted milk powder in it. The base is supposed to taste like brown butter, and so toasted milk powder is the way to do that. So the first thing that we're going to have to do, assuming that this is not something that you have already made, you may have made this with me when we did our toasted milk powder chocolate chip cookies. But if you don't currently have this in your pantry, we are going to go ahead and make the toasted milk powder today, mainly because I'm out of mine. It's been 4 months and I've finished an entire container of milk powder that I toasted 4 months ago because I use it in a lot of things. And so I need to make more to fill this today. I need about a 1/4 cup, roughly like 30 grams of toasted milk powder, and I don't have that. So we are going to start by dumping. I'm not going to measure this. I'm actually going to make more than I would need for the recipe so that I have more for the future and it can become kind of just like a pantry item that sits. I'll talk a little bit about toasted milk powder while I'm making it. If you were here during the cookie stream that we did, you're gonna hear the same stuff all over again, but for people who are new, I hope this information is interesting and that you can take away some knowledge from it. This is, I guess, for those of you who are here live, welcome. Thank you for joining me live. If you have any questions, please direct them to the chat. We're live on Twitch and we're live on YouTube. And if you have questions, I'm going to be following along. I'm going to be answering them in real time. For those of you who are seeing this at a later date and it is no longer a live video, it's just part of a playlist, know that I am going to be talking to random people off to the side. That is just like text asking me questions. They will probably, hopefully, ask questions that I did not think to give answers to. So you may get even more information than if I did not do this live. Which is always fun, and it's always fun to just kind of like have some conversation back and forth while we're in the middle of things that can kind of get boring and a little bit repetitive, like toasting milk powder. Yeah, we'll just kind of hang out, do what we do, and you can cook along with me from start to finish. Nothing is measured, nothing is pre-prepared. There's no movie magic. This is just one long stream. And if you already have something like an ingredient, or if you purchased an ingredient and you don't want to actively make it, you can just kind of skip along the video wherever you need to be. So you can fast forward or slow down and cook along with me at whatever pace you are. So let's get started. Like I said, I am not going to measure this at all. I'm just gonna dump some milk powder into a pan. This is whole milk powder. If you want to use skim or non-fat milk powder, you can. There's not a huge difference between the two of them. It's basically the fat content is different. So if you use a non-fat milk powder, you're adding the extra protein for creaminess, but it is going to solidify more than if you did a whole milk powder, because the fat content is going to keep the ice cream kind of less solid. But there's not really enough of it to cause a huge textural difference. So you can use whichever one you see first, that's fine. Another option is to also do like coconut milk powder. I've seen it at Walmart. You may or may not be able to find it at your local store. I know that you can find it on Amazon. Everything's on Amazon. But coconut milk powder would also probably be pretty good in this recipe. Just know that it is going to change the flavor of your ice cream. So actually, let me get a wooden spoon. This may make some noise with the mic. I apologize in advance for any low humming you might hear. Essentially what we're doing is we are toasting milk solids. So when you think about brown butter, you think about literally browning butter. You're throwing an entire stick of butter into a pan and you're melting it, and then those milk solids, which is exactly what this is, are what toast and turn brown and fragrant and nutty and delicious. And that's what you're getting that flavor. But in an entire stick of butter, you're getting maybe a half of a tablespoon. You're getting something like 7 grams of milk solids that are toasted. I, doing this, can specifically toast the milk solids, treat butter as a separate ingredient, and put as much of this as I want. I did actually make this recipe at one point with 3/4 of a cup, so 75 grams. A little more than 75 grams of toasted milk powder, which is insane. And it was delicious. It was not what I was going for. I ended up at a different amount, a much less amount. But you can essentially put as much of the flavor as you want into anything that you're making. Cookies, muffins, pan sauces, coffee, whatever you want it to be in. And it is a delicious pantry staple for me. I wish that they made it like the companies that make milk powder would like pre-toast it and sell it in the stores so that people wouldn't have to do this. It probably will happen eventually if it catches on as an ingredient. I'm honestly surprised you can't buy like pre-browned butter in a store that's like browned and then whipped and squeezed into a container and stuck in the refrigerator section. It doesn't make sense to me just because it is so popular. Hey, any of you out there, take this idea, use it. But the cool thing about this is, just like milk powder, this is shelf stable. Once you make it, you can literally dump an entire canister of milk powder in. Obviously mine was too big, but you could dump your entire canister of milk powder into a large saute pan just like this, and you can toast it up and then put it right back into the can and use it for the same expiration date. So it is shelf stable. I think it's like a year is usually the expiration date once opened for milk powder. So that's basically what you have to work with, and it is one of my favorite ingredients to use and play with, especially with baked goods. Let's see, has anybody asked me any questions? I saw a lot of scrolling. What if you used almond milk instead of regular milk, like for the actual ice cream? I don't think that would be a good thing. It's not going to have the same amount of fat and protein that you need. We're actually using whole milk and we're using heavy cream. So using almond milk kind of like you lose that creaminess and it's going to be too thin. It'll be icy and you're not going to have the same texture. It'll probably solidify. It might taste good, but it'll probably solidify into like a brick. I don't think you're going to be able to get it to the consistency or the texture that you expect when you think of ice cream. Did you hear him sneeze from across the house? My husband sneezed from across the house in a separate room completely, and chat heard it through my mic. That's hilarious. I am ruled by toasted milk powder. That's absolutely true. It's true. Do I like Fairlife because of the extra protein and it's lactose-free? Yes. It's lower in sugar, higher in protein. It's lactose-free, so it's a little easier on my tum-tum. Although I am using heavy whipping cream or double cream if you're in Europe. And so that kind of defeats the purpose of the Fairlife. But I do like it a lot, and that's mainly why we use it. We use it for like our everyday milk for us. So this usually takes, it depends on what kind of milk powder you're using. If you're using a plant-based milk powder, this takes 15 to 20 minutes. You're not gonna get it to the same color as you would like an animal milk powder. So you're basically going off of smell and you're going off of taste for plant-based milk powder. It's gonna get to like a really kind of like light tan beigey color, but it's not gonna get fully browned into like this dark kind of, like into this kind of caramel color. I'm actually gonna pour some of this into the pan so you guys can see where you're gonna get up to there. So I've gone darker than this color before, but that's essentially what we're going for today. When it comes to the animal-based milk powders, it does take a little bit longer to toast this up. It's somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes. I know in the recipes I say an hour, but it's just out of caution. If you go really low and slow, it's going to take longer, but you're gonna have less clumping. So it really just depends on like how much you wanna pay attention to the pan and what temperature you wanna cook on, how worried you are you're actually going to burn it or something like that. The whole milk powder does clump more than the non-fat milk powder. So if it's your first time doing this, honestly, it's easy. This is like a nothing thing. Like anybody can do this. But if you are really worried, you can start with the non-fat milk powder and then move into the whole milk powder. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm just treating this kind of the way that you would treat a roux. I'm just moving around the pan, scraping up the bottom, making sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom of the pan. And you can see it's starting to clump and change color a little bit. Here's a little piece. It will clump. You're breaking up the clumps as you go. You're making sure that whatever is toasting against the pan is moving around and not getting darker and darker. If you do feel like you're getting anything that is like starting to burn or stick too much to the pan, just move it off the heat, break everything up, and then return it back to the stove top. You can also keep this on a relatively low temperature. I don't like to do this at a really high temperature just because the same way as when you're browning butter on your stovetop, it kind of, that carryover cooking, right? Like it starts with this really nice, beautiful brown, and then all of a sudden it's like a really dark brown and you're worried that you burned it. And it's like a matter of minutes before that happens, sometimes seconds, depending on where it is. You kind of have to be careful in the same manner as this. So it's always kind of best to cook it at like medium low, maybe slightly into the lower section. If you have a dial, you're going to be in between kind of like low and medium low. And if you have like number dials, I typically cook this at like, I think I have like a 15 number or 15 step dial situation that goes from like 1 to 9 or something like that. And I'm usually around like a 3.5, 4, if that's helpful to anybody. But again, you're just moving it around the pan, hanging out, chatting, doing whatever you want to do. But I would not suggest like walking away the same way that if you were working with a roux. Like don't walk away from the pan. Just be present in the moment. Use it as meditation. I don't know. Do whatever you have to do to make it work. Do I have merchandise? The apron I'm wearing is cute. Thanks. It was a Christmas present. I'm obsessed. No, I don't have merch. I would like to have merch. I need to design some stuff. It's like one of those things that like, you know, you think like, do I have actively enough followers that it would make sense for me to sit and design something? I do want to do it. What I really want to do is I wanted to design one of those spatulas I have here. I have one. I love them so much. I don't use them as much as I used to. This one broke because of a mishap with a food processor. I don't know if you can see. Here, we'll put it down here. It's got all the measurements on it, even down to like milliliters, which is nice. So you have like a little bit of, like they're volumetric, so you have like imperial and metric on here, which is nice. I really want to make that, but instead of Santa, it has like my logo or something like that. Obviously, stickers are a yes. If anybody has any other ideas, I'm definitely open to them, but it might be a while before I actively make merch. I am frying milk powder, yes. I mean, technically I'm toasting it. Frying it means that there would be like oil or butter or something like oil of some kind in this pan. We are technically toasting, not caramelizing. We're toasting. We're toasting. But you can tell this used to be like a really light off-white color, and we're starting to move into like manila envelope. For those of us who are elder millennials, I'm sure you'll understand what that means. You can do this in the oven. I'm slightly terrified about doing this in the oven. I prefer the stovetop just because I can watch it. It does take longer in the stovetop than it does in the oven, but if I can watch it, then I can make sure there aren't hot spots. I can make sure that one part, that it hasn't burned because it's like in there and I can't really see what's going on. You can make it also in the microwave. I do have a guide to toasted milk powder on my website at alittlespoon.com. If you typed up like a guide to toasted milk powder, I'll probably come up in the search results on Google, and you can read all about how you do it. You can read about that plant-based versus animal-based dairy products. I talk about different ways to toast and the kind of like cost-benefit analysis for each of them. So you can definitely do it in the oven. Actually, the coolest thing that I heard, somebody commented, they were making my cookies, and they commented that they were so worried about burning it that they just dumped the milk powder into a sous vide bag and they sous vide it, which I think is absolutely incredible and like genius and so inventive, and I love it. So you can do this a lot of different ways. If I were to attempt making this comparable to the texture of something like mochi, isn't mochi like? I thought mochi. No, it's not. It's gonna stay powdered. We're not like melting or making anything sticky or anything like that. Yeah, it is almost like a roux. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit. Carrie Stream, let's go. Hi. You have those printed on a magnet so it can be in your fridge? Yeah, I have. It's called a measure magnet. Oh my gosh, I can't even get it off. This magnet is so strong. Ugh. I have the same thing, and it's got those same things. Honestly, you can never not have measurement stuff all over the place. Like I'm constantly like, okay, what is the equivalent? What is this? And I've gotten much better with it now that I'm like actively doing recipe development. But I have those things all over my house. Or kitchen, I should say. Not really all over the house. Okay, so we've got a little bit left. Not much left. But as you can see, it is starting to clump. And I'm just kind of pressing around, trying to break it up. When I feel like I am kind of falling behind on keeping everything unclumped, mainly just because we're chatting, and I'm like half-heartedly paying attention, I'm just lifting the pan off the heat source a little bit and making sure that I get to the bottom of the pan and I'm scraping it up and moving everything around. I do like using a flat utensil for this. If it's rounded, you don't get as much surface area pressing against the toasted milk powder or whatever is in your pan. It's just easier to scrape along the bottom and actually like get everything. And I do like it being having kind of like a more solid utensil so that you're not kind of like bending and whatever, that it just feels like it can push through any of these clumps a little bit easier. A wooden spoon with the logo burned onto it. I wouldn't hate that. I'm gonna be honest. Would not hate that. Yeah, only good Chad. Yeah, in theory it would. It would absolutely work to toast spices with sous vide. Yes. And you wouldn't have like hot spots where like some of them burned or something like that if they sat in the pan for too long. I know I'm a little behind on chat. I know you did that like 2 minutes ago, but yeah. Yes, you could toast spices as well. We are almost to the color that I want. If you do get a lot of clumps that you can't break apart, you can also let this cool a little bit. You definitely want it to cool because if it's hot and you put it into a container and then cover it, it's going to get humid and it's going to steam, and that would not be great. We don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure that you cool it before you add a lid to any container that it's going in, and that includes a blender. If you have a bunch of clumps that you are not able to get out, or you just want to get them out quickly, let this cool, dump it into a blender, and then just turn it on and blitz it, and all of those clumps will go away and you won't have any more problems. So don't worry too much about the clumps. As long as it's not burning, you are in an okay place. And then also, you really don't have to worry about clumps for this recipe specifically, because this is getting put into milk and cream, and it's getting whisked and stirred and steeped, and it's going to dissolve into that. So you're not going to have to worry about any clumps anyway. Yeah, plastic knives are the worst, you're right, for bending. Oh, that's okay, Sparkle. That's okay. Definitely make it another time. It's a good one. It's a good recipe. Life gets away from us. It's okay. You can cook this another time. I'm glad you're here. Ask your questions while you're here, because if you have any, when you come back to the video to make this later, you will have that question answered and waiting for you. Breadcrumbs for mac and cheese? Yes, and you can add, actually, one of the things that I mentioned in the toasted milk powder guide, I believe it's in the toasted milk powder guide, is adding toasted milk powder to the breadcrumbs for mac and cheese. It's like really good mixed into like a crumb topping. And it's also great to do just milk powder alone, to add milk powder into mac and cheese. It'll make it creamier. Milk powder is a great ingredient if you want to add a little extra structure and to like whatever baked good you're making, cake, meringues, something like that. Milk powder specifically untoasted for meringues if you're going for like the traditional flavor, because obviously this tastes like brown butter. So I would just do like straight milk powder. But it'll add, that extra protein will add stability and structure to what you're doing if it's delicate. And then also it's great in your baked goods where you have like a dough or a batter of some kind, because A, adds crumb structure, but it also allows for moisture to get trapped better. So it actually retains moisture in your baked goods better. It makes them softer, and they don't like dry out in a day. It's usually really good about that. Okay, I think I am happy with this color. It looks about like what I've got in this cup over here. It's a nice warm light caramel color. I don't think you could go as dark as you wanted on this. You could go as light or dark as you wanted. But I've found that this is just like a really nice medium place for flavor. And this is probably where I will end. So we're gonna move this off the heat, let this chill. And then we are actually going to start getting our milk ingredients together. All right, let's check. So happy that you joined today. Your wife loves mac and cheese. Nice. Do you use sodium citrate in your mac and cheese? Just out of curiosity, what kind of cheese do you use, or do you add like sodium citrate? How long does this stay good in the freezer? In the freezer, over a year, longer. Like this is shelf stable. So just like milk powder, toasted milk powder is shelf stable. The heat is not affecting its ability to just like sit in your pantry. As long as it's covered and out of the light and in a like room temperature controlled environment, that will stay as long as the expiration date on the packaging that it started in. Usually make a roux and then cheese and milk in amanu. No, that's okay. Okay. I want you, if you want to do, I'm completely jumping off task here. If you want to do a really good mac and cheese, look up a couple of different things, okay? Use American cheese or Velveeta. It has sodium citrate in it. That's why they melt the way that they do. They're the perfect melting cheese for mac and cheese. And sometimes we just have to eat things that are not great for us. Or you can use a regular cheese, an actual cheese product, or an actual cheese and not a cheese product. And you can put in sodium citrate, and that is what causes that the cheese to melt, and it doesn't allow it to crystallize and reform and seize. So it stops it from seizing, and it will stay like ooey gooey, and you won't have that like weird grainy texture or any of that. It like negates that. And then on top of that, if you cannot find sodium citrate, which it is available readily on the internet, but if you can't find it in a store, you can use Alka-Seltzer tablets. And I know that sounds weird, but look it up. Use Alka-Seltzer tablets. It has the 2 ingredients that you need to make sodium citrate. It's a byproduct of the use of the Alka-Seltzer tablet, and that won't hurt anybody. Honestly, it's probably better to have that in a huge vat of cheese. But yes, so pro tip, check that out. And I guarantee that your mac and cheese will be better in the future. Just don't eat the tablets beforehand. They get melted into look it up, find the process. But don't do that. Disclaimer. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from where we were. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to make the cream base. So we're essentially putting in our milk. We're doing half of the heavy whipping cream. We're gonna do the milk. We're gonna do the sugar, the salt, and the vanilla bean paste and the toasted milk powder are all gonna go into here. We're gonna get that heated up until the sugar dissolves. And then in this bowl over here, we're going to have our eggs. I'm going to crack open 6 egg yolks. That is going to be the base of the custard, what makes the custard for us. We are not using whites, we're only using yolks. So I actually, because I made the ice cream like a day ago previously, I've got a little container of just egg whites. These egg whites can be used for angel food cake, for egg white omelets, for macarons if you really feel like going nuts and baking crazy, difficult things in your near future. But you can just keep them off to the side and use the whites for something else. But we are only using yolks today. Essentially what we're going to do, and I will talk more about this as we kind of go through step by step, is we're going to temper our hot cream mixture into our eggs, and then we are going to return everything to this pan, and we are going to cook that custard through until it is ready to be chilled. So I'm going to need a ladle for that, so I'm going to grab that out. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to use, I typically end up not using measuring equipment, measuring spoons and cups and stuff like that when I am doing recipes, because I try to have all of the gram measurements, and I'll just weigh it out and just like add everything by weight so I don't have to get anything dirty. Today we're just gonna do it for ease because most of these ingredients are liquid or viscous in some way. I'm just gonna go by volume, and I'm just not gonna pay attention to it. So anyway, we're gonna do 1 cup or 240 milliliters of whole milk. If you do wanna go by grams, it's 245 grams. We're gonna add that in. Yeah, simple does not mean bad. A roux is how you should be making mac and cheese. That's actually far more advanced than a lot of people would be like doing for mac and cheese. Like far more advanced. A lot of people are just like melting some cheese into some milk and calling it a day, or into some cream and calling it a day. So that is like the superior method of making a creamy mac and cheese. But there still can be, if the temperature gets too hot or cools too quickly or something like that, you can have your cheese seize, and it's just a way of preventing that and making sure that there's almost nothing you can do wrong. Okay, so we've got that, and then we're also going to do, I guess I'll go in order of the ingredients on the recipe. We're gonna do 3/4 cup or 175 grams of unrefined granulated sugar. Honestly, you can use refined sugar if you want to use like white sugar. If you want to use toasted sugar in this recipe is also very good, but that does take a little while to make. Toasted sugar takes about 5 hours to make. Essentially, you pour however many cups of sugar you want to make into a baking dish, into like a casserole dish in your oven. I think I have it written somewhere what temperature it needs to be on, but you like cook it low for about 5 hours, and it toasts the sugar without caramelizing it. So you're getting that toasted effect, right? So you're getting to the Maillard reaction, but you're not melting the sugar. So it gets hot enough to have a chemical change, but not fully dissolve. It doesn't fully caramelize, we're just toasting it. And that is really nice in this, because the caramel flavors that come out in the sugar without it melting is delightful with bourbon and toasted milk powder and all those things. This is kind of my happy medium, is just to use unrefined sugar. Refined sugar takes all of that molasses out of the sugar, and so you just get a much cleaner tasting ice cream. This just lends it to just kind of a more mellow flavor. But there's really no good or bad. You can use whatever sugar you want. I would not use, I say that, I would not use brown sugar. That's got far too much molasses. It's going to affect your ice cream's ability to freeze. But any granulated sugar is a good bet. What is the highest level of baking difficulty? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. That's not a for me thing. Actually, I am going to measure out the sugar. I said 175 grams, 3/4 cup. Trying to be very slow because I don't want to put too much. We're so close. Hey. We did it. 175. Okay. Got our sugar. Okay, and now we're gonna do our toasted milk powder. which is going to be 1/4 cup or about 30 grams. Oop. I'm just gonna scoop right into it. Boom. Okay, now we're going to add in our salt. That was quite loud. And I'm going to do a teaspoon or about 2.5 grams of Diamond Crystal Kosher salt. If you are going to use a different brand than Diamond Crystal Kosher salt, please weigh your salt. The granules and the crystalline structure in your salt can make things saltier at the same volume. So it's best to weigh your salt if you're not using the same brand. And I'm also using I love that they did this, but I also hate that they did this. Diamond Crystal came out with a baking salt, which has a finer granule, which is probably closer to Morton salt, so that they didn't have to sit and explain all of the mass and weight measurements to everybody every time they said that there was a difference. And so now I have to kind of also say it is Diamond Crystal, but also I'm using their regular salt, their kosher salt. I'm not using their baking salt. So keep that in mind if you're way over and interested in all those things and all of the nitty-gritty. Cooking is absolutely alchemy. Okay, now we've got our vanilla bean paste. You don't have to use vanilla bean paste. I'm using 1/2 tablespoon. It's 7.5 milliliters or about 9.5 grams. So that's the difference. The volume is 7.5 milliliters. The grams is 9.5. You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to use vanilla bean paste. I just like to see the flecks. I'm just one of those people. I like to see the flecks of vanilla bean in my ice cream. But you can use an extract. Extract to paste is just a 1-to-1 ratio. The same thing with a vanilla bean pod. If you don't want to use the vanilla bean paste, you could do it's 1/2 of a vanilla bean pod. 1 tablespoon by volume of vanilla bean paste is the equivalent to 1 vanilla bean pod. And essentially, if you are going to use a vanilla bean, you would split it long ways right down the center. You scrape out with the back of your knife. I am not using a knife today for the first time in forever. Essentially, what you would do is you would say we'll use this. You have the pod. You have it split open down the middle, and then you take the back of your knife and just really push down and run it along, and it'll beat up all of the little beans inside, and that goes directly in, and then you just toss also the pod in without the filling. That goes in, and you're essentially good to go. Now I am using the paste in the initial step. I'm not adding extract. If you want to use extract and not paste, you're going to add it after you've done the cooking part. I've just found that because it's an alcohol base, the extract, it evaporates out and you lose some of that aroma through the cooking process. And so it's best to add extract kind of after. We are going to add a little bit of extract later. So when you see that in the recipe, if you are doing this recipe and you don't want to use paste or you don't have paste and you just want to use the extract, you can go ahead and you can add that at the same point where it says to add the extract and the bourbon. That's where you're going to add it. Okay, we're also going to do a cup of heavy cream, double cream, depending on where you are. Okay. And then we are going to have another cup. In the recipe, it says 2 cups divided. We got 1 cup there, and we're going to add 1 cup. Whoop, my head is in the way. We're going to add 1 cup to this bowl. No, we're just gonna pour it out. We'll pour this out. Do I want to pour it all the way? Nah, we'll leave it on the counter. I have to get the eggs in here first. Okay, let's get this started cooking. We're gonna dissolve our sugar. We'll come back to that. Do I want to talk about the heavy cream now? I could. The heavy cream, the extra cup of heavy cream, essentially we're like tempering this. And I could have the 2 cups of heavy cream in here, but essentially what I'm doing is I'm using the heavy cream still cold in a separate bowl. Like I'm gonna basically temper in the eggs, pour everything in, and then get a separate bowl and have heavy cream in it so that once the custard is done, I'm adding that custard directly into the heavy cream, which immediately stops carryover cooking and it cools it off a little bit. So you don't get like an after the fact curdle of your eggs. They don't like start to scramble like after you've taken them off the heat. It immediately kind of cools it down to a temperature that won't cause any issues. We are going to do a kind of like ice bath situation today just to get it as chilled as possible. But typically I would essentially put it in, stop the cooking of everything, and then that sits and chills in a refrigerator. Today's gonna be slightly different just because we're pressed for time and I'm trying to get everything together in one stream. But we'll talk about that again. I know I just like ran through it a little bit fast, but we'll get to it. All right, let's turn this guy back on. Now we're getting this just to the point that the sugar dissolves. And then we're gonna set it aside. Does anybody have any questions? How are we doing? Is that Michter's bourbon? No, this is Old Forester. It's Old Forester 100 proof rye. I said rye the way that I would expect Matthew McConaughey to say rye. Rye. Whipping cream? Yeah, it's whipping. It'll say heavy whipping cream. Heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, whipping cream. You have whipping cream and heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream has more fat in it. Either will work. Just know that the more fat, the creamier your ice cream is going to end up. And we will talk a little bit more about adjustments and things like that once we get to it. Once we're making the custard. I figured I have to fill some time while we're just like doing the same thing we did with the toasted milk powder. We'll talk about all of that when I'm actively mixing the custard and cooking the custard. All right, all right, all right. No! That's funny. Could you do rum in place of bourbon? Yes. Yes, you can. You can. I would suggest, honestly, full disclosure, I would suggest you get a caustic rum. Because the higher sugar content, smoother, mellower it is, the less you're going to taste it in the end result of your ice cream. I think a brandy would be better than a rum. If you do a rum, I would suggest something that is it is a rum you would not typically like drink by itself. It is something that will punch you in the face. Otherwise, it may not come through the ice cream and all that cream and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna test the temperature. See where we are. We're only at 100 degrees. I'm gonna bring this temperature up. I want this to be over 140 degrees, so over about 60 Celsius, so that when I go to temper the eggs, it's like kind of like I can set it off to the side, it'll start to cool, we'll get the eggs all cracked and in there, but essentially I want this to be about 140 degrees, 60 degrees Celsius, as we temper so that it brings the egg temperature up to something that is like under a temperature that it will turn into scrambled eggs as we're whisking, but warm enough that we're going to cook it because we have to make sure that we're cooking the eggs. And I know we are also going to do the custard, but you want it to be under 140 degrees either way. Otherwise, we're going to have some scrambled eggs. We don't want that. So we're going to use that 140, under 140, 60C. Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side. And we're going to move over. Let's see. I will shift this over so we can do our eggs. And we will come back to this guy in a minute. Now, I'm about to get extremely messy. I do not have a problem cracking eggs and having like yolk and white all over. I did take these eggs out of my refrigerator about 30 minutes before I started. The warmer they are, the easy or the harder it is to scramble them when you're actively tempering. So. Crab flavored ice cream in San Francisco. It was wild. Yeah, that sounds, ooh. I actually, I have a friend of mine that really likes Old Bay ice cream. So I guess that's probably pretty similar. I have to try it. I've had mushroom ice cream. That was interesting. We were in Portland and we went to Salt and Straw, which if you know, you know, they do crazy flavors. We went to Salt and Straw and they had mushroom ice cream, and that was interesting. So basically, I'm just gonna pass this back and forth along the edge and hope that I don't pop it, which I just did, but that's okay because I already got the albumin off of it. The albumin is the white part. The yolk is not, it's the yellow part. You'll notice, I guess, the yolks that I have are probably, that did not break well. We're just going to use our hands. That didn't break very well. You'll notice that these yolks are like a kind of golden color. I'm going to pinch off this little tag here. It's just because of the diet of the chickens that laid these eggs. If you're getting just like regular eggs from the store, they might be lighter in color. That's okay. I just want there are two things that might be different from you making this recipe to me making this recipe. And essentially that is the eggs. The egg yolks might be a different color, and the toasted milk powder, whatever color you end up on. They may make your ice cream a different color than what you see in the picture, but that does not mean that it's wrong. You might end up with the same color, you might not. And I'm just doing this over another container. I have so much egg whites in here. I really should make something with this. Okay, that's 4. I'm cracking on a flat surface because I don't want to push eggshells up into the egg. I don't want to puncture this membrane. Before I even get the egg open. This is just, it's not a superior way, in theory, to crack an egg. It's just a way to crack an egg. These are large eggs. Whew. It's probably about 55 grams, give or take, per egg. Okay. So we got all of our egg yolks in there and ready to go. Move this out of the way. I'm donezo with it. Okay. So now we're going to whisk this. It's going to be a little loud. Apologies, but it is going to happen. Metal on metal. Oh, I apologize. We're going to whisk these eggs until so you can see they're just kind of, almost looks like a gel, to be honest. We're going to whisk them until they lighten in color, and we've trapped a bunch of air, little tiny air bubbles into them. It just makes it easier for the hot liquid to get in and temper and get kind of mixed in with everything super fast. It helps with emulsification or kind of the incorporation of all of your fats, your liquids, your oils, and your oil in your water. An emulsifier like eggs are essentially what combine water and oil together so that they don't like reseparate. You can use egg whites and make whipped cream to top the delicious ice cream. You could make like marshmallow fluff, which I do have a recipe in a recipe. There's an ice cream recipe for a toasted s'more. And actually, the newsletter should have gone out by now. I'm planning to do a toasted marshmallow fluff recipe that is going to go up in September. Yes, validation. I'm planning on doing a toasted marshmallow fluff recipe that's going to go up on the website in September, and it uses egg whites to make marshmallow fluff, and it's really good. But there also is a marshmallow recipe on the website that is a kind of marbled dark chocolate ganache and marshmallow, and those are very, very good. You could do a meringue. I always think of pavlova and like angel food cake when I think of egg whites. Peanut butter s'mores ice cream. Yeah, that would be an absolute obsession of mine. Absolutely. That sounds really good. Okay, I'm about where I want to be. Not sure how much you can see. Like, the angle's not the best. So we've lightened in color. I can see it's just not as dark and as dense as it was. I've incorporated a bunch of air into there, and essentially we're ready to temper. Now I do want to check the temperature of that because I do want it to be a relatively warm temperature. I just don't want it to be over 140 or 60 C as we said before. 140 F. Okay, I'm about 117. It's probably not warm enough. I'm gonna make it a little bit warmer. I'm gonna turn this back on and get it closer to that 140 temperature. I just don't want the change in temperature once I start cooking the custard to be so different that we do have an issue between where we started and where we're going. We don't need this anymore. I'm moving it out of the way. Okay. We'll turn this back on. Would there be a difference if I use a mixer? What do you mean by that? Like use a stand mixer to temper? You could. If you just did like a whisk attachment and beat your eggs up until they were lighter and a little bit fluffy, and you work that air in, and then you would slowly get this into that until it was, yeah, you could definitely do that. You could definitely do that, but then you just return it to the cooktop. So you return it right back to this. Once you got everything tempered in, you return it back to this, and then you cook. So you could absolutely do that. All right, I think I'm happy with this. I can feel the steam kind of coming off of it. So I'm happy with that. And now, whenever you temper, you always temper your hot into your cold. When you're tempering, when you're changing the temperature of an item that is sensitive to heat or cold, and you always temper. We're gonna move this so that I have full stovetop. You always temper your hot into your cold. Something else that I like to do is I actually like to, instead of attempting to like slowly pour with one hand and whisk with another, I will just use a ladle. I'm left-handed, so we're gonna do this. I will use a ladle to kind of pour in so that I can make sure that I have full control over how much liquid is going in and how quickly it's going in. So essentially, actually, let me also get, just because it's going to spin on me, I'm going to get a trivet underneath this so that this bowl doesn't spin. And essentially, I'm just going to continuously whisk. We've got our cream base here. You know what I did? I forgot the salt. Did I forget the salt? No, I didn't. That was a lie. Okay, sorry. Momentary ADHD moment. Okay, so we're basically just going to slowly pour in and continuously whisk. Okay? The reason that you put hot into cold is you want to have less of the ingredient that is going to be your problem ingredient. If I put something cold, a small amount of something cold into something that was too hot for it, even if I was whisking, there would be so much surface area of that hot ingredient compared to the cold one that you would end up with a problem and you would end up scrambling. So you go the opposite. That way there's more cold than there is hot, and you can slowly bring that temperature up to where it needs to be. Aren't eggs with more orange yolks from, does it say from? Sorry, I can't read. From hens with really good diets. It is about diet. It's not necessarily good or bad. I honestly, right now, that's how it typically is. Typically, the hens that are eating plants and have plants and like grubs and stuff in their diet and aren't eating like soy mixtures or whatever they're fed in like conventional. What is that called? Conventional like farming? I don't know. Whatever. Conventional way of rearing chickens. Their diet does decide, much like flamingos, like what color. Not necessarily they will be, but what their eggs, the yolks will be. And I like to say that's always true, but I have a strong feeling that like if you add marigold into whatever feed you're giving your chickens, it's going to turn your yolks orange. So like you could have a subpar whatever feed and they're not like actively running around and eating organic natural products that are just like out in the environment with which they live in, and you can still have that yolk color. They're like bigger commercial facilities just haven't started doing that yet, but like who knows? So like I wouldn't totally trust just the color of the inside of the egg because it can be just changed with like dyes and powders and stuff. Like if you add it's marigolds, I believe is one of them, and paprika. If you add paprika to the feed, it'll change the yolk color. So just like maybe consider like that. But I would just do, like if you really want to have, like if you're not in Europe, if you're in the United States and you really want that's different yolk color. And even then, like, I honestly haven't read enough about it. I'm literally buying my eggs for like the humane practice, like, and not for the nutritional value in the eggs. I don't believe the nutritional value is really that different between an egg that came from a commercial facility and an egg that came from like organic pasture-raised eggs or pasture-raised chickens. So I don't know enough about that. If anybody can talk about that in chat, you are welcome to. But Yeah, it's the color is based on the diet, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have a better diet. It just is what is in their diet. Yeah, free range eggs, free range pasture raised tend to have better diets just because they can get outside and eat some of those outside elements. They're not like just in a facility. But even something like pasture raised is really like, hey, they are out roaming. Free range, I guess I could give a breakdown. So free range is, I think they're allowed, like they're given like 1 square meter of space per chicken or something like that, or like less than that. It's like something really small, but they have the option to leave the facility and like go out into this like other open pen where they can wander around and they're not like just stuck in a grate or amongst each other. Cage free just means they can wander in the facility. It does not mean that they actually have space. And then you have like the traditional stuff where they're just like all kind of like in like little cages or in facilities where they like can't move. So it just depends. She actually has a blurb about that on the recipe page. I do. I did talk. That's something that I brought up here just because I worry that somebody who uses just like, goes to the store, buys their regular eggs like they always do, or maybe toasts their milk powder to a darker or lighter color, that the end result of their ice cream might be slightly different in color than what mine looks like in a picture. And I want people to know that like, this is the actual ice cream. There might be slight color variations just based off certain ingredients. And one of those is eggs. And I did talk about the yolks a little bit in there. So yeah, if you wanted to read more about it, you could go to the website and look at the brown butter bourbon ice cream recipe and you can read more about that. Yes, I am making a creme anglaise. This is technically, I guess we can get there. I'm gonna pour this into this now. I've got enough of my warm cream tempered in with my eggs that I can now kind of pour this back in with just whisking, and it still won't curdle because the temperature's been so raised. So we're at a good point that we can just kind of pour this back in here, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna whisk, and we're gonna pour this in. And so this is the base of my ice cream. Moving my pot here also from my heat source, from my heating element to a cold surface, your countertop, whatever, will also stop some of the additional heat that's on the bottom of the pan, so that when you do go to pour it back in, you don't have like a really hot surface that it's like initially touching, which is also something that I kind of did on purpose. It's not just for the video, just for the live. I did actually move this to a cool surface and off the heating source so that I would make sure that I wasn't like cooking my eggs by accident if the surface was still too hot. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick rinse because this is actually what I'm going to put my custard into once it's cooked. So I'm off stream for just a couple of minutes. Washing a dish. Yeah, ice cream was an interesting thing to research, and I did talk about it a little bit on, I think in like 2 or 3 different FAQs on the website. The difference between different like variations and styles of ice cream. This is actually a French ice cream. It's not fully a custard, but it does have a custard base, those egg yolks, and the fat content put it into the French style custard ice cream. It's not fully a custard because the egg yolks aren't, I think it's like the egg yolks need to be more than 1.4% of the base of the ice cream in order to be considered a full like custard, or like what you might consider a concrete in the Midwest. In the United States, this is a French style custard, which means that I have a lower, the yolks that are in there are a lower percentage. but it still has a high fat content. So the thing that determines what style of ice cream you have is both the yolk content and then also the fat content that you have in your ice cream. So if you're doing not a custard base or a French ice cream and you have something just called ice cream, the fat content, it could have no eggs, and it's essentially the fat content has to be over a certain amount in order for it to be called ice cream. Otherwise, it's milk ice. I think it was milk ice or something like that. And essentially, that's something that you would get, like, say you had soft serve or something like that. There's so much air that's pushed into it and so little fat content that you're kind of getting into the, like, into it's called milk ice. And you can't label it as ice cream unless you have a higher fat content. So the more you know. Okay, we're coming back to our cooktop here. This thing is the workhorse. This gets the MVP award for today's stream. This cooktop. Okay, we're going to turn this back on. I'm going to get rid of this whisk for the time being. And we are actually going to, at this point, here we go. We're going to do our cup, 240 milliliters. I believe I have it in grams too. I have it doubled, 248. What's 490 divided by 2? Is that 245 as well? Yeah, 245 grams. Or 240 milliliters of heavy cream. So this is our second cup. I'm going right in here, and I'm going to use this to stop any extra carryover cooking. Once this is finished, this custard is done, it's going directly into this. Okay. Set this aside. Okay. We're going to make sure that we have our thermometer handy. When it comes to custards, okay, you want this to kind of sit in between 170 and 175 degrees, which is 76 to 79 degrees Celsius. If it goes up to 180, which is 82 Celsius, you have gone too far. You will have scrambled eggs. We do not want that. We're staying kind of in that lower range. You have to get everything over like up into that like 170 degrees in order for it to cook and to kill all of your bacteria and all of that other stuff that you've got in here, and to make sure that it's safe to churn, keep cool, and then eat without any issues. We don't want any foodborne illnesses or anything getting into our systems, right? So we have to make sure that we hit certain temperatures in that 170 to 175, 76 to 79 degrees Celsius range. That is where our custard is going to thicken as the eggs cook and the cream kind of concentrates because we're releasing steam. It's going to get into a nice thick texture. I will show you as we go where that kind of lands. Let me turn this on. And what that texture that you're looking for is. I'm going to turn this, we'll turn it on a 4. I said this before we started the stream. This cooktop is not my usual cooktop. My usual cooktop is obviously behind me. And so I am not as familiar with these dials. And so I am going to be constantly checking with this thing because I don't want the temperature to get too hot unknowingly. But you are going to do the same thing. It's like the technique is the same all throughout. The same thing with the toasted milk powder, the same thing when we were tempering, the same thing that we're doing now is we're just going to constantly kind of scrape along the bottom, gently kind of move around and make sure that nothing is staying, touching that heat source, touching the bottom of the pan for too long. And we just kind of want to keep everything moving so that it heats evenly, uniformly, and we're not getting like hot spots on the bottom of the pan that, cook our eggs by accident. We don't want that to happen. This takes, depending on how hot you get it, this is going to take, the fastest I've done is 15 minutes. That was too fast. We're not doing that today, especially with this cooktop. It's probably about 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. My range is also induction. I love induction, probably too much. I know a lot of chefs would poo-poo on that just because a gas, like open flame, is supposed to be like the greatest thing. But I have 2 small children. Open flame seems scary. Also, it's not as precise. The idea that like fire is kind of always there, I didn't like. I like that the induction cooktop, because it's friction, it's basically like magnets in the bottom that stick to the metal of your pan and then move to create heat. I like the idea that if I have a spillover, so if I'm not paying attention, which happens a lot, and something boils over, or if something gets too hot, I can essentially like move my pan right off the surface, and I can literally, like, I can't touch it for long, but I can literally touch the surface that it was just like boiling. And I can like wipe stuff clean with a wet cloth or something like that without burning anything, without like having to get underneath any elements. If it was literally on fire seconds earlier, that heat is going to remain much longer. So I have finer adjustments and finer temperature control with the induction cooktop, which I appreciate. I haven't burned myself on my stovetop yet, so with the amount of cooking that I do, that is phenomenal. I do burn myself on stovetops when I am not in my home. So, yeah, I really like it. The only thing is I can't have copper. That makes me a little sad. You do lose the ability to use certain materials in your cookware, but I got some carbon steel, stainless steel. We're fine. We're doing it. Yeah, no speed running this process. We're gonna do it nice and easy. And actually, I'm gonna check it. We're in a good place. And I keep going at this temperature. I'll probably bring it down in about 2 or 3 minutes. What do I use to clean my cooktop? Well, it's essentially a glass cooktop. So if I just get like glass cleaner, Barkeeper's Friend is a great substance to use, but I just wipe it down with soap and water. I haven't had anything stick to it. So that's like, it's something doesn't, like nothing gets baked on. Like I can wipe it down. If I have something like I said, if it boils over or it gets sticky or whatever, like nothing ever really gets baked on because I can turn the heat off and clean it before it's like sitting there for too long. Oh my gosh, Zelos, really? You bought an induction range for your new kitchen after we watched one of your earlier streams and heard your reasoning for liking it. Have you used it? Oh, I see what you did. Okay. A circular plate. Yeah, okay, so you got like one of these. Yeah. How do you like it? How are you liking it? Okay, we're getting up there. Not quite there yet, though. No, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting a gas range. That is in a fully acceptable, honestly, like there are times that I'm like, man, like especially the gas ranges that have the little like plus sign tops where you have like an indentation in the middle, like there's no what's it called? Like there's no element kind of in the center, and you can nest, whatever, a wok in there and like really get flame licking up the sides. Like I don't have that. I have a flat bottom wok, which makes me very sad, but it's the only way that I can use it on the induction cooktop. Because I don't have open flame, I have to like broil stuff in the oven or put stuff out on the grill and get the grill going if I want to like roast peppers or things like that. So like there are trade-offs. I get much less like char and active flame situations because I don't have open flame. But for me, it was kind of worth it. The stove I bought on Amazon. It's a Frigidaire gallery induction cooktop, 4-burner cooktop. I bought it on Amazon for $1,000, and when they built the house, they installed it for me. Yes, a convert. Grumpy Goddess says, I have a grocery order coming later today. I added milk powder to it. We'll see if I become obsessed. You will. Okay, I'm going to turn this down. This is starting to feel like it's getting up there in temperature. I know. Yeah, this is hot. Okay, we're going to turn this down a little bit more. We're at 175. We're at 79 Celsius for the top of the range. So I'm just going to make sure that we are not getting above that. I'm going to bring the temperature down. But we are, now that we've hit that range, we are going to see this start to thicken a little bit more. At least I'm going to see it. I can try to show you, but it's probably best to show you guys with just a spoon so that I can keep. Let's do that. Yeah, I can already see it starting to thicken. So we're at the point now where it's not actively running off the spoon, but you can see the milk powder pieces, right? You can see how it's like gathering kind of at the edge there and sliding down the spoon, and you're kind of still runny, right? So it's not fully coating, it's actually running to the edge of the spoon and then coming off. So we're not where we need to be yet. It did hit 175, which means I've killed all of the bacteria, and I'm actually gonna eat this now. That is delicious. Can't let it go to waste. I'm not going to set it down. Plus, this needs to be cleaned so that the next time that I show you guys what it looks like, you're not seeing the old cream on it, right? All right, this is like in the perfect place. We're right in the middle of the range that I want. I'm at 1.5 power. This thing is so much more powerful than my stovetop behind me. I guess, is there anything else I could talk about when it comes to this custard? We talked about what constitutes custard-based ice cream and whether or not it's a custard or a French ice cream or ice milk. We can talk, okay, I know. We can talk a little bit about when it comes to freezing all of this stuff. And I guess I can talk a little bit more about that when we're actively chilling it. But we can start that now. That's not a big deal. So something that you have to wrestle with when you are adding alcohol to your ice cream is your alcohol actually, it raises your freezing temperature and lowers your, whoa, we can do this at the same time. Oh my gosh, my brain is not braining. It lowers your melting point and it lowers your freezing point. Yes. It lowers your melting point, lowers your freezing point. And essentially what that means, because I know that sounds like they should be opposites. That doesn't make any sense. Essentially what that means is that your temperature needs to be lower in order for your ice cream to freeze. Okay? Because you have something that's slowing down the ability for the ice crystals to form. The alcohol is actively slowing down the ability for your ice crystals to form and solidify into a fully frozen ice cream. Okay, so that temperature has to be lower for it to freeze, but it also means that when you take it out, it starts melting faster. That it needs a lower temperature for it to melt. You don't have to get up to a higher room temperature or whatever for it to start melting, because that same thing that's inhibiting that crystal structure is still doing that, and it will melt. That also happens with the amount of sugar that you add. So the more sugar and the more alcohol, also the more salt that you add into your ice cream base, the softer and softer and creamier and harder it is for it to fully freeze and refreeze and all that kind of stuff that you're going to kind of run into. I tend to move this directly into my deep freezer after I'm done with the mixer so that it really, really gets cold super fast. The colder that you can get this ice cream, the colder the faster. I don't know how we're gonna say that. The faster you can get this ice cream as cold as possible, the smaller those crystal structures will be and the creamier your ice cream will be. But that low melting point and that low freezing point makes your ice cream feel creamier to your tongue. The texture of it will feel creamier, but it also does mean that your ice cream over time will get icier as it defrosts and refreezes every time you take it kind of out of the refrigerator or out of the freezer and then you put it back in. So something that you have to be aware of is like you can't just take the tub out and like sit and eat it like you would maybe an ice cream you got from the store. You scoop out what you need and you put it back in the refrigerator just to keep it longer. I mean, I have been known to eat a lot of this in one sitting. So if it lasts as long as maybe about like 2 weeks, after like 2 weeks of taking it in and out of the fridge, you're gonna start to notice it's icier. So just keep that in mind with what you're doing. If you feel like it don't matter, you're gonna finish it like ASAP, don't worry about it. But if it's something that you're trying to keep for an extended period of time, then that might be something to consider. We're going to check our temperature again. Okay, we've moved out of our range. I'm going to turn this up one more. Get it back into our quote unquote thickening range of temperature. Okay, you can also do another kind of walk through here. So we're definitely thickening a little bit, but you can see we're still kind of pooling at the bottom of that, and you can actively see it get a little bit more translucent in places as it falls to the bottom of the spoon. We're not there yet. But I am gonna do the same thing I did before and lick the spoon. Something to mention while we're doing this, you want it to get to the point where it's thick enough to coat the spoon, and we'll do that whole like running your finger along the back of the spoon and like seeing how it pools and where it moves and all how thick it is and all that. Once you hit that point, you can be done. Do not keep cooking it to the point where it looks like pudding. Like you don't want to have like a pudding or like fully custard consistency. And I know that we're moving this into some heavy cream, so there is going to be a little bit of like a viscosity change between this and then like once we fully mixed it in. But you don't want to go into like a super thick consistency because that also is going to affect how well this solidifies. If you take all the water out, then you're increasing the sugar content and it's not going to freeze, and we don't want that. So once you hit that temperature, once you hit that correct and you in that range, and then you hit that texture, that's where you want to be. Okay, we're gonna check again. Still not quite in range. Do we have any questions? Okay. We're just going to meditate. That's fine. That's fine too. about, I think, 5 minutes out from being where I want to be. Actually, I'm going to, I guess it's not even plugged in. Did I go to school for cooking? I did not. Everything I've learned from books and the internet and TV and whatever other resources I could find, but I did not go to school for this. I just really, really, really like food science. It's my obsessive, my hyper-focus obsession is food and food science. And that's what got me here. I love to cook. I really don't know where to start. What are some good tips for a beginner chef who wants to start making delicious meals? For the missus. I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound preposterous and silly. And of course, it's canned, it's cliche. Just do it. Just get into the kitchen. The biggest thing for people who are just starting out is getting over your fear of your kitchen and your fear of making mistakes. Mistakes are an important part of cooking, a really important part of cooking, because they teach you. They teach you what not to do. They teach you how to try new things. They teach you to think creatively. And without mistakes, all you're doing is following a recipe. All you're doing is exactly this one thing and only this one thing, and you're not learning any other stuff. So I think it's really, really important. I actually will sometimes set myself up when I'm doing recipe development. I will set myself up to make mistakes on purpose so that I can talk about what happened in my notes. Because it might happen to somebody. It might happen to somebody, and I want them to know how to get themselves out of it or get around it. And so mistakes are so incredibly important. And I've made mistakes that have leveled up a recipe, where I've done something and I was like, oh my God, I wasn't supposed to do that. And then I was like, actually, this tastes better than what I was going for. Unexpected, but it works. And then I end up with something that is far better than where I was originally going, and I would have never gotten there if I hadn't have made a kind of mistake. I will run experiments in my kitchen where I'm like, okay, well, what if I mixed in this much of certain ingredients, and I'll have like my control recipe where it's like the base recipe and then individual things added, and I'll like take notes on like, was there a temperature difference or a time difference or an ingredient difference or something like that? And invariably, all of the things that I didn't end up with were considered mistakes. But you're gonna find something that works for you. And it's really good to make mistakes when you're actively trying to cook to your taste, because then you learn about what you like. Just get in the kitchen. Just get in the kitchen and do it. And have your knives be sharp. Please sharpen your knives. Please sharpen your knives. And tuck your fingers in when you're cutting and use the claw. Tuck your thumb in behind your fingers. Don't chop your thumb off. That's not very fun. But having sharp knives is probably the single best thing that you can do. That and get a kitchen scale. Sharp knives and a kitchen scale. Okay, that's looking really nice. I don't know if you can see. We're still getting a little bit down here at the bottom, but you can actively see that I'm like not seeing the spoon through any of this. I'm gonna do one of these. We're gonna dip this back in. So you can see it starts to kind of pull, but it doesn't go all the way through. It starts to kind of fall down a little bit, but we still keep that line. If you wanted to, you could stop here. I'm gonna go slightly thicker than this, but we're very, very close to this being done. Do we post anything about places we've been or recommend after traveling? In my Discord, I do. I have a private Discord channel through Patreon. If you're a paying Patreon member, you get access to the Discord, and we talk about traveling and give recommendations for food places all the time. And if we're somewhere and we like the food, we'll take pictures of it, talk about like drink menus or food menus, dessert menus, whatever that looks like. I'm going to turn this down real quick. I want to plug in my ice cream maker without burning that. So we talk a lot about food there. Pretty cool. Keep cool. Okay, we'll get that cooling and ready. Turn this back up. So that's, I mostly talk about traveling there. Once or twice a week, I'm in my husband's stream when he streams video games every day. I won't give the times because they're usually wrong. Love you. And I will go in sometimes in the morning. So if you catch me in his stream, hanging out with him, you can ask me about places, and all of chat plus me may be helpful to you. And then in my Instagram, I do have a travel highlight that has places that I've been to. And if I like it, I'll post like some of the food or me or something like that. And I'll mention where we were. But there's not a lot of places. We tend to travel to kind of all of the same places over and over again. But yeah. What brand is my digital thermometer? This is a Lava Tools, but Thermapen is better. If you want, I think we're done. If you want a more precise and quick time, the Thermapens are fantastic. Okay. I think I am happy with this. Let's check our temperature one more time. Let's take this off. I think I hit a temperature I don't want. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we're actually good. This is 170. All right, cool. We're still in range. We are done with the cooktop, friends. Yay. Okay, so we're here. Let's show you what this looks like because you can't really see it. I don't know if you can see the liquid moving around in the pot. It's the problem with pots, right? If we used a saute pan or something for this, this would be a much better situation. I don't know if you can see the thickness of that, but we'll do this. So you can see how thick that looks on the spoon. Okay, I'm gonna do this. That's nice and thick. You see there's like a little bit of a hump, kind of where I've drawn a line through. Okay, we're not easily flowing back together. Okay, I'm going to eat this again because this is my house and I'm not in a restaurant, and I'm just going to keep reusing the same spoon. Okay, now we're going to pour our custard base into our heavy cream here to stop any additional cooking. We're pouring it through a fine mesh strainer because invariably, no matter how good you are with the scraping and moving, you're gonna get like little pieces that have kind of clumped, and the strainer will help push those out and make your ice cream smooth. It will break all of those. It will break any clumps that you've made kind of by accident. Okay, it's smelling really good in here as well, and I'm excited about that. Okay, so now I'm basically just going to use my spatula to push everything through the strainer. There you go. You can see like I've got a little bit, just a little bit of clumps that are now gone. And I do this every time. Okay, we got this. Whatever you've pushed through always ends up sitting on the bottom of the strainer, and then I've got like one spatula that I can't really use because it's got some of those clumps on it, and I need a second one. Okay, now we're done with that. And I'm just going to mix this all together gently. And this is our ice cream base, minus the bourbon. I get to add the bourbon now. I'll add in my remaining vanilla extract, and I'll add in the bourbon. And then I will eat some again. Taste testing is one of the most important. Always taste your food. Taste as you go, right? Okay, now, I know you can see what color this is. It's going to be lighter than this once it's out of our ice cream maker. So your ice cream is still going to end up a shade lighter than this, in the same way that when you cream butter and sugar together, or when we were whisking our egg yolks earlier, it's going to lighten as you incorporate air into it. Light refracts differently once you add air into a substance, because it has like transparent pockets, light can kind of get in and it lightens the color in general. So as we mix air into this while we're churning and spinning the ice cream, it is going to lighten just a little bit, not like a lot, but it will lighten. Okay, this is hot. Now, something at this point, if you were making this according to the recipe on the website, you would cover this and you would stick it into the refrigerator to chill until it got down to refrigerator temperature, okay? So we're talking like 43 degrees, it has to be under 43 degrees. That's the temperature, the max temperature that you're looking for spinning. You obviously don't want it to be under freezing because we don't want to create ice crystals before we're ready for them. But you want 43 to be your max temperature, which is 6 degrees Celsius. And instead of putting this in a refrigerator to chill for hours, because this is a cooking stream and we can't do, and I don't want to do movie magic, I'm actually going to put this in a huge bowl of ice, and we're gonna kind of do like an ice bath situation. And we're going to use the ice to thermodynamically pull the heat out of this and melt the ice and get kind of it all in there so that their temperatures come to an equilibrium, and we're about 40 degrees, 43 degrees, 6 degrees Celsius. That's where we're headed. So let me get a huge bowl. Actually, this may be the only time I use my husband. Husband, can you put ice in this bowl so that people don't have to listen to me pour ice into a bowl and be very loud about it? I could mute the mic, I guess, and do it, but it might just be easier if you, can you just dump ice into this for me? Please and thank you. It's still loud. Oh no. Oh no, it's still loud. Actually, this can go in the refrigerator too. These are done. It's got egg on it. Okay, more temperature stuff. This should take about 10 minutes to get to the temperature we want. Actually, I think 15. Okay. So basically, I've got ice in a bowl bigger than my bowl. And I'm shoving this down in here so it comes up all the way up the sides. Okay, there you go. Gently do it because, I mean, I guess it depends on how my bowl is not a very large bowl. So I've got very little room between complete catastrophe over the edge. But essentially what we're doing is we're just going to kind of scrape along the edges, bring the, right now the ice is leaching that heat from our custard base, and I'm just going to kind of scrape that in, and I'm going to mix it and pull some of that cool into this to chill it faster. What's up?
Now with that on camera?
I guess we can put it on camera. Do you want to move it? I just needed it to start chilling. If you want, you can move it.
You want to plug it, does it reset all the way?
Yeah, but it's already started to be chilled, so I don't need these anymore either, so we're good to put them away. Aw, we're gonna move the ice cream maker. I have a machine, and I don't have like one of the attachments that are a freezable kind of bowl. What?
Put it over there or just right
Right here's fine. Right here's fine. It's good. Just move this closer to me. Okay, let's see where we were. Whoop. Okay. It's going to start making noise too, so that's something that I have to...
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah?
You're not right next to your mic. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I have a Breville. This is the back of it. I have a Breville ice cream maker. I do love this thing. I did buy this several years ago when I made my first ice cream recipe. So that I could, what's the word? It's a deduction. I could expense it as a work expense. And I have used it for several ice cream recipes that I've made and sorbets. I like not being confined to a like overnight or 24-hour period. You really should, if you have, depending on the style of ice cream maker you have. Sometimes they are a machine like this where you can kind of just drop your base in, and as long as you've pre-cooled it, it will go and it will chill it to the correct texture that you're looking for. But if you do have a bowl, either an attachment, I know KitchenAid, I do have KitchenAid mixers, they have a bowl attachment. You freeze the base and then you kind of put it in and that will do that. You have to be careful with how much ice cream you put in because the more base you put in, the more heat it will leach out of that outside bowl to get chilled enough to turn into ice cream. And so one of the problems there is that if you have like too much base, obviously like the bowl defrosts too fast and then you end up with like a soupy texture instead of the ice cream texture that you want. So this is kind of nice because it's like always going to make it to that temperature. It's just going to keep going until it hits it. So you kind of have to worry about that. But I do recommend if you do have a bowl attachment, a bowl style ice cream maker, that you freeze it for 24 hours. I know like a lot of the times it'll say like 8 hours or overnight or something like that. 24 hours is going to ensure that it is fully solid. And that will make sure that your ice cream gets to the proper temperature, or like it'll chill it faster and keep it colder as it goes. It is an intense ice cream maker, but I do make a lot of ice cream. I've heard good things about the Cuisinart. The Cuisinart compressor model, same thing. Yep. It is not as expensive, but it's still the same concept where you pour in. Put as much ice cream as you can into the base. Got it. Actually, a lot of the bowls, I think this has it too. They all should, honestly. They'll have a little line that says like max. And so you don't want to go above that line that says max, or you run into a situation where it doesn't freeze all the way. Or into like a soft serve, because you're looking for a soft serve consistency. All right, let's see how hot we are. We're at room temperature. Not bad. We're more than halfway chilled. Besides soft serve, what kinds of ice cream are there? Well, yeah, I guess technically soft serve. Technically soft serve is ice cream. It's just a different style of ice cream. Soft serve is ice cream with air, more air in it than you would get out of like a tub of ice cream. In order to be called, or I guess like some soft serves, I think it's something between 60 and 90% is like air or something like that of what comes out of the machine. Like you can go up to like 90% air mixture in your ice cream base. And that is your soft serve. But soft serve is just essentially the texture, the amount of air that you're putting into your ice cream base is what constitutes as a soft serve. Bluebell makes a soft serve ice cream. It's good because it's probably much lighter. And it's easier for them to call it soft serve and make money off of it because it's got far more air in it. I'm out of curiosity, and you can like DM me or something like that, but out of curiosity, what's the weight of the same volume, right? So if you're in the store and you're looking at the same volume of a Bluebell ice cream that's an ice cream, and then the one that's a soft serve, what's the weight difference between the two at the same volume? I'd be curious to know. I don't know what, like, I would like to know like what the weight difference is between the two. If it's lighter, I can eat the whole container. Would we not want to add some water to the ice to increase surface area for cooling? Also, if you add salt to the ice, would it cool faster? Yes, it would. You can do that. I don't recommend it for this. It would cool it faster. But honestly, I'm doing this just for streaming purposes and for time purposes. It is better to chill this in the refrigerator as intended in the recipe. It allows the flavors to develop better. I'm losing that. I'm losing the flavor development in order to get rid of that time and because of the time constraint. So it would be better if you just chilled it in the refrigerator instead of doing this step. If you add salt to it, another thing, like yes, it will chill it faster, but if it melts and you end up getting ice pieces in this by accident, you are adding extra salt and maybe too much salt, especially if you're using like rock salt, like ice cream salt, directly into your ice cream. That's not a good, all of this work, and you'd be like maybe getting salt in it by accident. So anything that we can avoid, we're gonna do. But yes, that would cool this faster because science. So the same way that I said your sugar and the alcohol lower that freezing temperature and that melting temperature, salt, I did say salt does, as we have here in this question, also lower that temperature, which makes it thermodynamically, I guess, how do I explain it? It kind of like charges it. I don't know how to explain it. Because the ice is melting, you get a more surface area, and it actually it'll pull out that better because it makes ice colder. Makes ice colder. All right, let's see. What temperature are we at? Ooh, not quite ready. I feel like I need a chart of all of the common temperatures from Fahrenheit to Celsius. I feel like I need that. I'm still slightly in the teens. I'm in the upper teens of Celsius right now. And I need to get down to 6 to 43 degrees. So we're still going. We're not quite there. Some people make no-churn ice cream like this, just mixing in a suspended ice bowl. So the no-churn ice cream, you're making whipped cream. You're making whipped cream. Something that's really important, I have a couple of recipes for no-churn ice cream, and something that's really important is that you don't over-whip. It's essentially sweetened and condensed milk and heavy cream, double cream, whipping cream, whatever you want to call it. You're using those two ingredients to have a really high fat content and a good amount of sugar, and you're whipping all of that together until you get to like a medium peak. If you go past into like stiff peak and then further, you're gonna make butter. And so one of the things that I like about no-churn ice creams is obviously it's super easy because you're making this like stable cream base that's like already aerated, already ready to go. You kind of plop that kind of like you would frosting into a container and then you freeze that. And that's so much easier than this. Don't do that. Okay. I'm not ready to press start. It started spinning on me. It's okay. But the problem with no-churn ice creams is, which honestly, is this a problem? You can only have so much before you're like, I can't eat any more of this, or at least to me. Texturally, it's got such a high fat content because protein is almost not involved. Like we don't have egg yolks, we don't have just regular milk. Like the protein is so much less and the fat content is so high that it's almost like you ate butter. It's almost like you get this like coating on your tongue when you're eating no-churn ice creams. That's kind of unpleasant if you eat too much of it. So it's like a great way to have like portion control. But also like I prefer doing like this kind of like having this kind of ice cream or just buying ice cream from the store over a no-churn ice cream personally. The problem with no-churn ice cream is that it's a lie. Yeah. It is. It's just frozen whipped cream. It's dense frozen whipped cream. Cold sweet butter. Yeah, if you go too far, it'll literally coat, like it'll literally like be like you're eating butter if you whip it too much. Hi, Brittany. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, let's check again. I feel like we're getting down in temperature. Almost. I'm 7 degrees Fahrenheit off, so like 3 degrees, give or take, Celsius off from where I need to be. Almost there. Thanks, Colin. Colin said he likes my hair. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're trying to go up or down. We're trying to bring the temperature down. So we cooked our custard to the correct consistency. And now we're trying to bring that temperature down so that I can immediately start churning it and I don't need to chill it in the refrigerator, because this is a live cooking stream where nothing has been pre-made and there's no movie magic. And so I can't say like, oh, and this is a now chilled version. Let's spin this in the machine. This is how we do this. If you really need ice cream same day, this is what you do. Just stick in it, nest a bowl in a bigger bowl of ice, and stir until it hits the correct temperature. Yep, no worries. Does anybody have any questions? Where are we on questions? This ice cream will set. Honestly, 8 hours is a good number for it to be like fully done. 4 is probably the minimum after it's churned and in a container. 4 is probably the minimum that I would suggest that you freeze it for before you break into it and start eating. It'll last, taking it in and out of the refrigerator, taking a scoop, putting it back in. You've probably got a solid 2 weeks before you get any ice crystals forming on the tops of it, or depending on how long you're leaving it out on the counter, or any like off flavors or anything like that. But it's good. It's good in your refrigerator for about a month. Can you have some when I'm done? Probably not. I think it would melt before I mailed it. Could even get it to the place to ship it. And I think the milk would go bad. It's too hot outside. No. Okay, I think this is a good temperature. Something that I do need to find, I have absolutely no idea where the ice cream container is that this is gonna go into. Oh, here it is, I found it. That was nice. This is the first place I looked. That never happens. Okay, so I guess we'll let this go. I guess we're gonna end just so that the people who are here, not for the live, that are here on the video that is posted in the playlist for this recipe, I am probably gonna stop halfway through the churning, just to when it gets to a consistency that I can kind of pull it out with a spoon and show you like, hey, this is the end result essentially of your ice cream. Like I said, when you're churning, you want to get it to a soft serve texture, and then that goes into a container and then into your freezer for the appropriate amount of time, minimum 4 hours. 8 hours is probably best, or longer. It's going to take like 40 minutes for this thing to churn to the correct consistency, and nobody wants to sit here and just like watch that as a playlist video. The live people and I will hang out, but I'll probably do an outro once I can get a texture that I can just pull out with a spoon to let everybody see, and then we'll like peace out, and I'll see you guys at the next cooking stream. I'm going to go ahead and test this, take this temperature. Yeah, we are where we want to be. Okay. I'm at my correct temperature, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to churn. And then we can talk just a little bit more. That monthly subscription would be high. That would be an expensive subscription if I was having to ship stuff to people. Also, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, because then that's like selling food products. And I think I'd have to have like certain certifications and stuff like that in order to do that without getting in trouble with the United States. Okay. We are ready to go. I'm gonna wipe off the bottom of this so that we don't get water in our mixer. Oh, that's chilly. Consider it a donation. Okay. You guys can watch me spill this all over this thing. Here we go. I didn't add the bourbon. It's okay, we'll add it into the mixing, during mixing. Whoops. I got too excited. Guys, the bourbon's an important part of this. Right now, I just have toasted milk powder ice cream or brown butter ice cream. We'll add it. It'll get mixed in. It'll be fine. Okay. You need 100 proof bourbon. If you want to do a straight Kentucky bourbon, if you want, this is a rye. You can do essentially whatever you want. Honestly, if you wanted to do Scotch, good on ya, go for it. You need 1.5 ounces or 22.5 milliliters of 100 proof bourbon. I'm just gonna pour it right in and let it churn. Mistakes were made, it's fine. Also going to add a teaspoon of extract. I'm glad it's gonna mix for 40 minutes. It's gonna mix in all the way. I really like this rye, or this bourbon. She can make mistakes, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying, is it's like, because I'm in this kitchen so much, logically, I know that mistake's not a big deal. Don't do that to me. Okay, start. Okay. I'm also going to add, I believe it's a teaspoon. Oh, hey. Nope, I don't have to add any vanilla extract extra. That was in one of the original recipes. And in the recipe that I did yesterday when I was messing around. Yesterday I made this ice cream. So we did about 28 grams, a quarter cup of toasted milk powder in this. Yesterday I made this recipe with 3/4 of a cup. It was like 75 grams of toasted milk powder. But I had to adjust. I had to add extra vanilla and extra salt and more bourbon. And it is meltier because of it. Okay, so we're just gonna let this go. And we're gonna let this churn. I'll take the top off. I know you can't really see it churning, but I'll take the top off and I'll show you guys consistency once we get there. Let's talk a little bit about bourbons. I did experiment with different proofs. If you go lower than 100, you have to use more bourbon to get the same flavor. So I had to use, I want to say that it was 2 ounces, so 60 mils of I think it was an 86 proof. You guys get to see the liquor cabinet. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, that's sad. Okay, it's 86 proof. So I grabbed an 86 proof bourbon. No, you don't have to move the camera. Thank you, though. I had a lower proof bourbon. I wanted to see what would it taste like, what would it do the consistency. Because the flavor is not as pungent, right? Because we don't have such high proof, the alcohol is not as strong. You don't get as strong of aroma. Aroma is 80% of what you taste. And so if there's less aroma, there's less bourbon flavor in your ice cream, especially because ice cream is cold. And as things get colder, the aromas, things that you're smelling are less. Which means that it's going to taste less strong. So the colder something is, the less flavor it has, the warmer it gets, the more flavor it has. And so something that was really important was that you have a high proof. Also, because it was a low proof and I needed to add more to get the flavor, it was meltier. It almost did not set. I had to set it in my deep freezer. It was not setting correctly in a regular freezer, which was a no-go, right? If you're making ice cream, it should be ice cream. So a lower proof, if you're comfortable staying at 1.5 ounces with a lower proof, that is fine, or the 22.5 milliliters, that's fine. But just know it's not gonna be as strong of a flavor. It's gonna be sweeter, and it's not gonna kind of like really be bourbon flavored. So stick with 100 proof. If you wanna go higher, you could. And you could have it have a really strong bourbon flavor and stick with that same 1.5 ounces, or you can put less and maybe do like 1 ounce and do like 30 milliliters of it. That would probably be fine if you have something that's like still strength and it's like way up there. Go for it, experiment, have some fun with it. But I would not go over 1.5 ounces or the 22.5 milliliters of bourbon. I think that's not right. Why am I saying 22.5? That is 3/4 ounce. 45 milliliters. Sorry. Don't go over 45 milliliters of bourbon. That would be a problem, and it will not freeze the same way. So like, don't run yourself into that. Somebody did ask. Thank you. Nobody noticed. No, thank you, chat, for not pointing it out to me and letting me catch it by myself. I really appreciate that so much. Somebody did ask earlier if they could use rum. Sure, go for it. Again, you need to have a high proof of whatever you have. I would honestly tell you that you're going to want something caustic. It's going to make that flavor come through better. You can use, let's see, like I said, I've got rye. You could do a Kentucky straight bourbon if you want something slightly sweeter. You can do some fun barrel aged stuff. If you have anything that's barrel aged and you just want to play around, go for it. It's going to complement the toasted milk solids like really nice, that brown butter flavor very nicely. If you want to do scotch, I don't see why you couldn't do that. If you want to do rum, yes, you can do that. Brandy, I feel like brandy would also be great in this recipe. Cognac, brandy, go for it, enjoy. But now do know that brandy is a lower ABV, so that's something that you're going to have to watch out for. Do not go over that volume measurement. Yeah. Is there anything else to add? I cannot believe I forgot to add it. That's so funny. I don't think so. We can talk a little bit about the container I have. This is a double-walled container. I'm not sure if I'm even doing this right. I've thought about it because logically, I kind of want to fill this with water and then sink this into it because it's not pressed up against it, and then have like an ice block around this. I feel like that's how you're supposed to do it. I'm too lazy and I've never looked it up. But even this is fine because it's double-walled. You get a layer of stagnant air that is going to maintain that temperature and not let heat leach directly out of the plastic that's touching a surface. So I really like this container. This is Sumo, but I've seen it as other names. So like if you look online, there might be like other names of it, but it's essentially just like 2 plastic pieces. It's double walled, and it's nice. It's nice for a refrigerator because it's thin, and you can just it fits an ice cream scoop and you can just like scoop right out of it. So this is what I'm using today, but I honestly do feel like if I froze ice in this, that would be really great for keeping stuff cold, keeping your ice cream cold. You plan to use bamboo rum for the banana flavor. Honestly, that's probably going to be really good. And I will say too, hear me out. If you're going to use a banana flavored rum or something that has banana forward flavors in it and its tasting notes, I would suggest you use coconut milk powder and just full on lean right into that flavor profile. You can still do the toasted milk powder if you really want to, but I feel like a toasted coconut milk powder would be chef's kiss. I feel like that would be really, really good. Six times. My Patreon members laugh at me because it's impossible for me not to talk about toasted milk powder. 7. They're keeping track of how many times I say it. This recipe uses that ingredient. It's impossible to not say it out loud. You can tally as many times as you want. I'm still going to say it. Okay, we're starting to thicken. We're still in a soup, kind of a soup thing. We're not quite there. I guess I can open this and maybe you guys can see inside. But we're starting to get thicker. Just not quite. We're only 8 minutes in. I'm impatient. I said 40. It took 42 minutes for this machine to get the ice cream yesterday into soft serve consistency. So I think probably around 20 minutes or so, we'll see something that's thick enough for me to scoop out with a spoon. Whoop, tried to be out of the camera, still put my head in. We'll probably have something that's thick enough that I can like, you can kind of see it like mound a little bit on a spoon. And then I'll do my outro. I'll say goodbye. This thing is just gonna make ice cream and then it's gonna go into the freezer and chill. Nothing new happening. We're not doing any extra cooking. I'm actually actively cleaning everything up around me because I have nothing else to do than that and talk to you guys. So that's where we'll probably end it in a couple of minutes. Yeah, trying to get the ice cream out of the machine is absolutely, you're right, it is harrowing. Harrowing is the correct word. It's like sitting there actively melting around the edges and you're like trying to scrape like around the mixer and in this tiny little container. Honestly, like I do feel like this machine compared to like this is great because I can have ice cream same day and I don't have to like think ahead and like time out when my ice cream mixer bowl, like the base will be frozen enough for me to make ice cream. Like I don't have to try to remember that, which is nice. However, those ice cream mixer bowls are like usually wider and the paddle is usually like less intense than this guy. And like the space trying to get, like to scoop all of the ice cream out of this thing is like rough. And then trying to clean this machine, also not great. We like put bleach in the bottom of it to just keep it from, because it grows like molds. It's like you can't, because it's the machine, like I can't clean it the way you would just clean the ice cream bowls. Yeah, so essentially, I'm going to do the outro for our playlist. Hello, everybody who's seeing this at a later time on YouTube, for our video playlist. And then I'll stick around with the people who want to stay around for the live, and you guys can actually like see the ice cream coming out of the machine. Yeah. Do I know that there are compressor machines like, did you know? Compressor machines like this that don't have removable pails? That seems terrifying. Are you talking about the top loading ones where you pour in and then it's got like, kind of like the margarita spigot or like the drink spigot and it like comes out of the machine that way? Are you trying out those? How do you even clean those? Like honestly, who is cleaning those? If anybody's ever cleaned one of those, how do you do it? I should embed these cook-along videos on my website, and I actually have done that with 2 recipes that we've cooked. I have not added the videos to recipes that I'm ranking on Google for because that might mess up my ranking. Yay, isn't the internet a wonderful place? I can't just like do something that's going to be helpful because it might mess up my standings. But yes, I do. For anything that's not like currently like up in the top 10, I started adding the videos in. It's almost like this exactly. Pail inside the machine, mixer paddle. The paddle removes, but the pail doesn't. That seems like a nightmare. I don't know about that. How do you know? That's a no for me. That's no. And even like the pail comes out, so like this has like a hole in the center, and when you take the pail out, it'll like some of the ice cream will like fall through the hole and get into the bottom of the machine, and it's like not great to clean. I can't imagine. No, I can't even imagine that. That sounds like horrible. That seems not fun at all. I'm impatient. It's soup. It's soup, guys, but it smells really good, actually. Oh, man. Bourbon's nice. Oh, I could talk about this, too. say you are a non-alcoholic person. I feel you, I get it, I understand. Sometimes we don't want to put alcohol into our stuff. You can find bourbon extract. Bourbon extract exists. You can get a similar flavor to what this is in your ice cream without as much alcohol. If it's an extract, it does have some alcohol in it. That's just how things go. But it's low enough that it's not a thing. And that, I've not used it. I don't have bourbon extract in my home. I have not used it before, but according to the companies that make it, when they talk about using it, they say it only needs like a couple of drops. And the fun thing is that when you're adding this extract in, you're adding it after you've already cooked your custard. So you can just like stir it, like throw a drop or two in, stir it, taste it, decide where you like it, and just less is more. Add a little bit at a time until you're happy with the flavor, turn it. Easy peasy. If you don't want to put actual bourbon into your ice cream, then you do not have to. If it makes you uncomfortable, not a problem. Just do bourbon extract and you will be good. I guess we can talk a little bit about the vanillas that I used today too while we're standing here. Okay. We're gonna do a lot of things. Let's see. How many of these do I, oh my gosh, you guys are gonna laugh at me. I'm a nerd and I have all of the fun toys. Okay. I don't have all of them, but I do have most of them. So, let's do, this is vanilla bean paste. This is just regular vanilla bean paste. This is not a single type of vanilla. This is a blend that is made. Just says pure vanilla bean paste. I like Nielsen Massey. I think that they honestly are a superior vanilla company. No, I'm not sponsored. Yes, I would love to be. That would be absolutely insane. Dream client. But I do love them. I'm obsessed with them. All of my extracts and paste and stuff like that are from them. This is their Madagascar bourbon vanilla bean paste. No, that does not mean that is bourbon barrel aged. It is literally from the Bourbon Islands in Madagascar. Do not be confused. But it does have a flavor profile similar to the things that like the caramel notes and stuff like that you would find in like a bourbon aged something. So I'm using the Madagascar bourbon vanilla bean paste and extract if you do use extract. I like to use these with most of my baked goods where I'm looking for a toasted caramel flavor or any of those kind of nutty, nice notes, barrel aged notes. Just because the bean itself lends to that flavor profile. It's probably my favorite. So these are my two favorites. They also have an Indonesian one, and the Indonesian one is similar, closer to the same flavor profile as the Madagascar bourbon vanilla. And so I would suggest that if you're looking for, like you can't find these, or you're looking for interesting things online and interesting styles of vanilla or types of vanilla, this is a good one. The Indonesian one is a good one. And then honestly, if you just want to try it and true, go with just the straight vanilla, just pure vanilla bean extract. It's just a blend of everything, so you can kind of use it in any application, kind of like all-purpose flour, right? You have a flour for whatever occasion, cake flour, bread flour, pastry flour, and you can have like all-purpose flour that kind of gets you that happy medium between everything. That's kind of the same thing that this is. They also have several others. I think there's like an Ethiopian one, and I want to say it's got purple lettering, but I also have Tahitian vanilla and then Mexican vanilla. This is really good when you're using dark chocolate and you maybe want to have a little bit of spice. And then the Tahitian vanilla is excellent when you're doing something like marshmallows or pavlovas. It's got a super light floral flavor, and it's just really nice. And I'm almost actually out of this. It's really nice and light. So if you don't want the vanilla to be like overpowering and you kind of just want it to be like really subtle, this is a really nice vanilla to use. I like their products. But yeah, the more you know about vanilla, Madagascar, or the Madagascar bourbon it's not bourbon barrel aged. It's just where it's from. It is the actual origin of that vanilla. King Julian. Any funky mix-ins besides the bourbon and vanilla paste? You can. Oh yeah, you could. Honestly, I feel like toffee would be great in this. You could probably do chocolate chips in this, and that would be nice. Graham cracker. Actually, okay. I'm sitting here. So what am I even doing? So the base of the no churn s'mores ice cream I have on my website has toasted milk powder in it. It has half the amount of toasted milk powder that this recipe does, but it is the base ice cream for that, and it is a s'mores. So it's got some Biscoff cookies crumbled into it. It's got a chocolate ganache, and it has toasted marshmallow fluff, and then it's got this kind of like really just lovely like brown butter flavored ice cream as the base, and that is like wildly delicious. So any of that is great mixed into this ice cream. Walnuts would be good. I bet you if you did like candied pecans, so like pralines, and you chopped those up, that would also be very nice. Yep. Okay, I'm at a consistency I can scoop. I think it looks like maybe it is. I'm about 20 minutes in, which is at the halfway point, so that makes sense that we're just starting to see this thicken up enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll see if we can show you guys a little bit of this. I'm not super sure. No, we're still kind of soupy. It's so good though. There. So you can kind of see a little bit of it frozen. I'm pulling off the side of the thing, hoping that it'll get there. This is like when you're that person that doesn't like frozen ice cream and you let it melt into like your witch's brew as a kid, and you're just playing around with it, and it's like really nice and creamy because you let it turn into soup. That's essentially the consistency that it is right now. But it is cold enough to give me like the actual flavor of what it's going to be. And that's really nice. Okay, we're just gonna call that a day. I'm not gonna keep anybody around any longer. Let's go ahead and end the stream. Yum. No. You can, the live, I say end the stream. I mean, the live will stay on, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do an outro so that we can clip it and then we can post this in the playlist for the cook along videos. And I'm going to move this away from me so that it's not so dang loud while I'm trying to say goodbye. It's still loud. What am I going to do? Not much else I can do. It is what it is. Okay. Yep. Clip it and ship it. Okay. Honey, you tell me whenever you're ready and I'll say goodbye. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much to anybody who is here after the fact and is seeing this in the playlist. I hope you enjoyed making the brown butter bourbon ice cream with me today. Remember, once it's out of the mixer, you're going to chill it for a minimum of 4 hours in whatever container you're putting it into. Honestly, I've put it into like baked, like quick loaf pans. So like whatever you use for like banana bread, you can pour it in that. Pour it in whatever casserole dish you want. As long as it can hold somewhere between 5 and 6 cups, you're in a good place. That gets frozen and chilled, and then you have a delicious ice cream when it's all set and ready. I really appreciate you being here in the A Little Spoon Kitchen. If you are looking for any more recipes, this recipe specifically is in the description for this video, but if you'd like to head out to my website, it's alittlespoon.com. I've got plenty more there. I know if you were here and you kind of went through the video, you hear me talk a lot about food science. It's really important to me to have instructions that not just say, do this for this amount of time, but also give you instructions that help you with cues. So what it's supposed to smell like, what it might look like, what it might taste like or feel like. and along with actual temperatures that certain things need to hit to help you make sure that you're doing the best that you can in the kitchen, and that you're learning a lot of new techniques and things that are going to help you far beyond making a recipe here on my site. It's really important for me, at least I feel, to help people learn who want to learn how to cook, to help them so that when they're out and about, they can read a recipe and know, oh, I'm not sure if that'll work, or this sounds perfect because I know this technique, or I know how to do this thing. And so having all of those facts and having like really extensive FAQs and things that just kind of like help you build your culinary knowledge was something that I really wanted to do with the site. So hopefully you will go to the site, or even on my Instagram. I do post my recipes also on Instagram as well as the site, so you don't have to kind of like do the link in bio thing where you like click through and in order to get to the recipe, they're there. So if you don't want to go to the website, Instagram's also there. I do have, and my husband would be loath if I did not talk about this, I do have a Patreon that supports the work that I'm doing here today. It supports the Instagram content and also the web content, and no ads. I really, really do not want to have ads on my website. So the Patreon affords me to kind of keep those out of that for a better user experience on my website. I really want people to kind of leave feeling refreshed and relaxed after visiting the website, and ads don't do that. So anything is helpful. If you do become a Patreon member, I think the minimum membership level is like $1, but every membership level gets you the same stuff. I'm not like trying to gatekeep at certain levels or anything like that. We've not gotten that popular yet. But you essentially, I bring everybody into conversations about what I'm up to. So there's a lot more behind the scenes. There's a lot more input directly with me about the things that I'm going to be making in the future. This was a suggestion from my Patreon members that wanted me to make this. And so here I am. We have a private Discord server that we talk about food, all manner of types of food on. And then we do monthly Zoom calls where we can kind of sit for an hour and just kind of hang out. It's a good time. It's a good community. If you'd like to join, you are absolutely welcome to. I would appreciate that. And I'm sure the people who are visiting this site that maybe can't contribute funds but do not want to see ads also appreciate your service. Thank you for the support. And then also, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I think we're good there. Let's just chat. Oh, I have a newsletter. Let's do that too. I have a newsletter that goes out once a month. You can sign up for that also on my website. If you go to any page on the website and scroll down, there is a little submission form there. It's just your name and your email address. And I send out a newsletter once a month. I don't want to bombard people with constantly saying like, hey, try this or whatever, any of that clickbaity stuff. It's just a utilitarian email that goes out that talks about all the stuff that I did last month, and the stuff that I'm moving into in the new month goes out on the first of every month at noon. Feel free to sign up and follow along with any of the stuff that I'm getting involved in. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. Cool. And we're out. Rambly intro, rambly extra, but I'm an information person. Outro, extra, outro. It's an outro, isn't it? It's an intro and an outro. We're fine. I'm fine. I just talked for, it's 2 o'clock. I just talked for 3 hours. It's fine. Oh no, the mic. I'm just taking stuff off like I'm done. What did that sound like to everybody? Terrible? Oh no! Put it back on! We're fine. I'm fine. I'm not. My brain is mush. She's had enough. Okay. Where did we actually get? Oh, that's looking so good. Guys. I'm just gonna, it's like milkshake consistency. The sound. Did I turn it off? I'm good? Okay. It's milkshake consistency, and I want a milkshake right now. A Coke and vanilla ice cream float sounds good. This would be great in a float. Actually, I've had it in a float. I had it with Coke and I had it with root beer, and it was great. Yeah, who says you can't? Right. Bet. Appliance ASMR. Is it too loud? Okay. If you want to come out, honey, you can come on stream now. Really? That's my Luke face. The question is, do I make an old fashioned? Now that we're not making a recipe specifically for a playlist, do I play? Ooh, your pork shoulders on the grill? Trying out smoking on a gas grill with a smoker box. Cool. The thing that I think I love most about this recipe is that if I had the toasted milk powder, so I had to like make the toasted milk powder, but I literally used two things. So aside from like whisks and spatulas, right, small stuff, I used one pot and one bowl. Cleanup is like less than a quarter of my dishwasher. Like, how awesome is that? I'm sure Lep appreciates. What's going on? Did he sub to his channel? Oh, actually, I do need a spatula. I have this guy that's supposed to like fit. These little plastic spatulas they give you are like, I don't know. He said 5 gifted subs for an old fashioned and then gifted himself. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays off. Plays. Wait, that's not right. Let's see how it plays out. Plays out. Dang it. Messed it up. Turns out. Works out. Let's see if it works out. Works out. Nailed it. Didn't nail it. Nope. Let's see if it works out for them. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Slayer. Ah, it's so yummy. I gotta stop opening it. I know you're not supposed to. Every time you open it, you introduce like heat from the outside air because it's like the top, once you latch it, like keeps the air in there nice and chilled. And I'm like, I keep looking in. I'm so impatient. Okay. What do I actually want? I don't have any fun syrups. I might put an Amaro in as a syrup. God, that'd be so strong with 100 proof. Maybe I should do the 86 proof. I have falernum. I could maybe use falernum. I don't want to put straight agave. It makes me sad using stuff like that. Instead of like a fun syrup, like a lemon syrup or rosemary. I could always do a sour. Yeah, I did not say that, Cross. That's a very good point. Is that not only may it not chill properly, is once it starts whipping air into it, if the volume increases, right, as you're adding air into it, much like if you're making whipped cream. Cream starts here, you're whipping air into it, and it starts to stabilize, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you could literally have ice cream overflowing out of your machine because you put too much in it. Thank you. It was a Christmas present. I have a couple of aprons. We'll do a little fashion show. There are several iterations of apron before we fully landed on this one. This actually came, the apron idea came from my brother. He bought this for me as a Christmas present. The only problem is that it was just like a rando company. So it was like an exceptional idea, but I washed it once and the decal thing started coming off of it, which I was very sad about. So we ended up getting two others. We got these at the same time, and I'm wearing this one just because it's the same color. Like the color is correct. But I also have this guy, which is embroidered. So I've got like two little embroidered situations here. But I got two, yeah. And this one's got like a nice, really big front pocket, which is cool. But I like the clip. Sorry, I just knocked the mic. I like the clip instead of having to kind of constantly adjust the neck to get in and out of the apron. Yeah, the amount of times that I'm like making something and I'm like, let me grab an apron before I stain what I'm wearing. Oil splatters, tomato sauce, like all that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan. Who doesn't love ice cream? I don't know. Ice cream is honestly my favorite dessert. Ice cream is a favorite dessert of mine. I got rid of my spoon. What was I thinking? Just as I'm like, don't open the top. Whatever. Oh, yeah. It's so good. Hey, miss. I'm still streaming, so it's up to you.
Hey, what's up? That's true. He used to not like ice cream.
Yeah. I thought he still doesn't like ice cream because it's too cold. Yeah. It is the best thing ever. You're about to be in frame. Are you trying to come on stream? Okay. Yeah, he waits for it to be like soup before he eats his ice cream. Sorbet enjoyers. I like sorbet. I love sorbet. It cleans the palate. A recipe that I am actively trying to work on being the appropriate terminology. I've made two iterations that I've not been happy with. I really want to make a cherry hibiscus sorbet. Very badly.
I'd eat that.
Yeah. You would eat most things.
I eat everything.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
Why 2 ovens? Because we're that rich.
The double oven. I love this because I host. I host holidays. I have friends over. Honestly, also because it gives me storage space for all of the stuff that I cook in this oven. So it's like storage for the use of that one. But yeah.
So, if I get the subs and, supposed to make it old fashioned.
Do you want to use?
I mean, if you really twist my arm, I guess.
Do you want to use a lower proof situation?
Whatever you think's right.
What do you want to? So this is a straight bourbon, and then this is a rye.
Lep is mostly in frame right now. It must be spreading quite a bit.
Yep. Get an ice cube out for you.
Welcome to the stream. Yo, set mix. Thanks to the 5 gifted subs. Is my mic too loud? Let me pull it away a little bit. Is this better? Test. There we go. Set mix. Thanks to 5 gifted subs.
Can you grab a plate or something? I just want to temper the ice.
Paper or?
Yeah, that's fine. Just something to put the ice on. I just want to temper it before we. Okay. Do you have a preference here?
The lower proof one. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Ice cream sacks. Best sacks.
Also, I think I'm going to do this to you. We're going to experiment. I'm going to use an Amaro.
What happened to the music? Oh, there it is.
Oh.
It's just very quiet. I added music now the outro stopped going.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're currently uploading a 30 gigabyte video to YouTube. Recorded at 1440p, 25,000 kilobits per second. Already got the thumbnail done. And I have a pre-set list of chapters for the description. So they're sectioned. I missed some of them, so you have to go back through them, but I'll upload like my draft version.
Okay.
So to make chapters in YouTube, you just got to put the timestamp and then like a description, and it automatically shows up into the
little
scroll bar.
Oh, I love that.
So I have it like templated out, but I didn't know what to call some sections, and in some other parts I was like dealing with the kids or whatever, so I missed when you started certain parts. So Lop edits for Lep, but Lep does edits for Carrot. Yeah. Shocking.
All right, I'm using. Okay, this is a riff.
Okay.
This is a faux fashion.
What?
Instead of an old fashioned.
This is
I'm
not
using
authentic.
Amaro. I'm using a bitter. I'm using an Amaro instead of a simple syrup just because I want it to be more interesting, which is going to change the flavor because it's got extra alcohol and it's not just sugar. But I'm also doing some sassafras bitters.
Sassafras.
And some orange bitters.
Hey, Mom. Yes, we're drinking.
Okay. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a mix. Oh, it smells so nice. Honestly, I just drink that. Okay. I'm going to put our little ice cube in here. And it's tempered, so we should be fine. We shouldn't have too much. We shouldn't have cracking. I'm going to need something to stir.
Spin.
I'm leaking.
Spin.
Got clear ice today, boys.
You can't even see it.
That's the point.
My mom says hi.
Hi. Can you grab me an orange? We're gonna try something else new today that I've not yet tried because we haven't had anything that's used peel yet since I've purchased it. Oh
Wait,
my God, it's so close.
You have a new peeler?
Yeah.
You do? I don't know this. Oh.
Right. We're gonna try a cheese slicer as a peeler.
Wait, put it right here.
I saw this on I can do this. I saw this on Instagram. Two of the people I follow that do cocktail content started talking about it, and I said, you know what? Why not? The opposite of that utensil is a whisk. Yes, the other side is a whisk. That's absolutely true. Okay. I'm scared. Is it gonna work?
You don't have to. You can be in a more comfortable position if you want.
Holy cow. That is, yeah, that's great. That'd be great for zest photos because look how much pit is behind it. That's nice. Well, yeah, so I can trim that.
Oh my God, I can smell it already.
I'm not going to trim it. I'm just gonna like whatever, but that's like a really nice, because usually I can't get that deep into the pith.
Yeah, normally.
Which is fine if I'm doing something like an oleo sacrum, but it's not great if I need a garnish. Add mix-ins. We hit frozen yogurt consistency. Okay, we're gonna give you a little
squeeze.
Express here.
Express me. Give me a big express. Where's your other?
Toss it in. That was nice. That was nice, friends.
Where's your other?
Here's our old fashioned.
Where's your peeler?
Oh, that's delightful.
Is it this one? No.
Yeah, that's the peeler I use.
Is it that one?
I use a Y peeler.
A Y peeler. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, I guess we could do a side-by-side comparison here. So even if I'm like.
God, I hate those.
Yeah, I took.
Orange down, orange down.
Orange. I don't get nearly as much. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think this deserves a close-up.
Here, I gotta mute for a second. Give me 1 second.
She's gonna mute. She's muting. I'm not muted. You are. Right? Chat, you can't hear her, right? I think she's going to Tinkletown. So it's just me right now. Oh, autofocus is off. Yeah. Not enough light in here. Focus on me. Thank you. Oh, her camera's so nice. Detecting bourbon. A little bit of orange. Some ice. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. We're almost there.
Look at all that gray. What? It must be your monitor. Get your monitor checked. Oh, we can show the liquor cabinet now.
I want people to see some of the stuff I have in here. I'm not.
What do you mean? That looks great. What do you mean?
Well, I don't like some of the alcohols that are in there. Don't want people to think that that's my jam.
You know, we need a real liquor cabinet that like that isn't deep, because like if you have like multiple rows deep of bottles, it's useless.
The finished liquor is in the refrigerator, where you put it, and it is good.
Hey, we can zoom out now for me.
How many minutes are we at? 30, 47. Whoa. Definitely more time than last time.
How cold did you make the...
41.
I was at 38.
Oh, that's why. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, 38 when I stopped the ice bath last night. Did you try any?
I tried one sip before you. That looks so pretty.
It was.
Honestly.
We did a close up. It was nice. Is it overexposed?
Yeah.
I think it's just that TV. I have it on extra bright for
Oh yeah.
for when I watch Dune.
Yeah.
I want to be like, bam, lights in my face.
That's nice. So if I had done the 100 proof, that would not like the having no syrup and having just the Amaro would have been a problem. But this is basically alcohol and alcohol. There's nothing. There's nothing else but alcohol.
And it doesn't. It's not that.
What?
You know that the alcohol like hits you in the face. It's
Yeah.
caustic. Wait, did
Acerbic?
we say it at the same time?
Yeah.
We finish each other's hard to say words.
Yeah. Because caustic is definitely a hard to say word.
Well, hard to think of words.
Yeah. Forgot the orange slice? Oh, like an actual orange slice? What do you mean? Do you put an orange slice in your old fashioned? How do you make an old fashioned, gaming couple?
I think he meant,
What?
or she meant, it's not just alcohol. It's got the orange slice
Oh, the expressed orange peel?
and the ice cube.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so clear.
Yeah, there's technically water in this. That's an important point. What Lep said, yeah.
I'd like to thank you for keeping up with the dishes today.
No, this recipe.
Yeah, I know, there's like literally
this
nothing.
Is nothing.
Nothing.
Love it. Ice cream is so great when it's like a simple ice cream recipe.
Yeah.
We're in gelato consistency. We are above frozen yogurt. We've made it into gelato. Gelato, and it's funny, I kind of partially hate that says gelato on it. Yeah.
Is he having a get together?
But I should probably text him, check in with him. I don't know what he's doing. I kind of hate that it has gelato as a setting. So technically, gelato not technically. In the way that they've done this for Breville, gelato is less air, which is gelato. Gelato has less air incorporated into the mixture than ice cream does. However, gelato also whips, spins, turns at a slower rate, and that's how there's less air. It's not about like it's not the same churning speed. And so it's actually like they say gelato, but it's like it's not technically correct. Ooh. What you doing there? It is the start of spooky season. I wore my start of spooky season shirt, black and gray stripes.
Yeah, it looks better. I was just trying to figure out what looks better. We don't have like a studio. We have a kitchen. So to make lighting look good in a kitchen, it takes some finagling.
Yeah. Do you temp the ice cream for final time to pull? When it tells me it's done, I just take it out.
Very advanced technique.
Very advanced.
That's like me in the rice cooker. It made noise, must open.
It looks like soft serve. It looks like soft serve. It tells me to take it out of the machine.
Slower.
That's when it happens.
Hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh.
The motor's like, please.
It's slowing down.
I was out yesterday, and the city's been taken over by pumpkin spice. Yeah, there's a beer that came out today, at our local brewery.
Oh, that looks. Oh man.
I went right for that. That's really good.
Oh, thanks for offering me some.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Bro, it's literally right there. What do you mean? Why does it look like Lep's hosting The Price is Right?
Because of the mic. Oh,
that good
the brewery that we were at yesterday, they came out with 8 new beers yesterday. They've got 4 more today, and one of them is a pumpkin spice lager. PSL,
Today?
a PSL.
Oh.
So in Starbucks terms, PSL is pumpkin spice latte, and that's like the thing everybody talks about. And now we have a pumpkin spice lager. I probably won't try it though.
I gotta say, those 8 beers.
Yeah.
I didn't really like any of them yesterday.
Yeah, I wasn't super stoked about any of
That's
them.
our favorite
The stout
brewery
was good.
place, but-
There's a bourbon barrel aged stout today that I want to
that
try.
and the pumpkin spice.
But
When we can't go there. 'cause
yeah,
we're-
we're not gonna
Well-
make it. They're probably out, honestly, by
How about
there's a sandwich place.
Maybe after
food
Corey's,
today.
I
The
just-
kids have not had lunch.
after
It's
Corey's,
2.
I take the kids back here and you go there, just to try them.
And if anything, just bring a growler back.
If
They
they'll allow
have
it.
they have all of them in stovepipes, so I could
Oh,
grab
okay.
a 16 ounce
Yeah.
and bring it back with me.
Yeah, just on the way back from Corey's.
Okay.
Yo, what up, pugs? Did you call me Loop? Loop, you are taking advantage, eating everything in the name of testing. Man, you must be yeeted on the zowie. I don't know what the kids say these days. Just made it up.
Hello, Pugs' wife.
How do you do, fellow
I want to eat it. Yeah, here, you guys want to see it again? Here, we'll see it turn, and then I'll look at that. Can they see that? They can see that. A little bit.
I wish there was an easy way to get the main
The correct
camera
angle.
over here.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Must be Ohio'd out of his mind. On Skibbity, no flop.
Oh no! Nice. Yeah. Multiple weeks after Nerm left, my wife keeps saying nice. Along with other Nerm things. Don't worry about it. Yes.
Nerm's a big nodder while you're saying something.
Yep. Honestly, that's just good. That's just good body language. That's just good communication skills.
Yeah.
Nerm's a big anything.
Nods with half of his giant body.
Just nod. You can zone out, and people think you're listening. I've never done that. Never.
Being attacked. I have a question.
Yeah.
It's something I used to know, but I don't know anymore. Why does normal ice not freeze clearly?
Directional freezing.
Yes. What is that again? I can't remember it.
Okay, so all
Because
water.
this ice is perfectly clear.
Yeah, all water has impurities in it.
Sure.
Okay, and essentially,
Especially Orlando water.
when you pour water into a contained area and then
Okay.
freeze it, those impurities are going to crystallize
Right.
into the center of
And
it,
they
and that's where
won't
you
be-
get the like white center in an
Yeah.
ice cube. If you use directional freezing and you allow ice to freeze, and as things get hot and cold and move around within a container, if you have a separate chamber underneath, the impurities drop down into that chamber because they're heavier as the ice freezes, and you're left with clear ice on top.
All impurities in water are heavier than water.
Yes.
And so just putting like little holes underneath.
Yes, allows that to sink down into the bottom chamber, and then the top remains clear. You can also just
But-
make a huge block of ice and then cut off the
Yeah, that's what I was
impurities
going
at
to
the
say.
bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So normally if you freeze like a tiny little
Yeah.
cube of ice,
Yeah.
there's not enough vertical space
Right.
for separation
Right.
to occur.
Right.
But it seems like that would be the case if you like, what if you made like an ice tray?
Mm-hmm.
We should test this. Make an ice tray and let it sit for like a week. Don't move it, and then freeze it. Would all the impurities have gone to the bottom by then?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, but I also don't know how much agitation walking it over
Right, like
would kick up any of that.
You'd have to
anyway.
put it like in a freezer without touching it, but don't turn the freezer on for a week.
And then turn
and
it
then
on.
freeze it on.
Yeah, that's,
you get these ice cubes out,
exactly.
they're like this weird, like clear,
Exactly.
and then like cloudy on the bottom. That'd be cool.
Oh, I hear it. It's
Uh-oh.
almost done. Do you hear it? Do you hear the stress?
It's
like
stressing.
it's like I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Ding ding.
It's over.
At an hour.
Right at an hour.
Bro, finish.
Stop spinning, bro. You're done. You're finished. There it is.
We done.
I'm real tired, boss. This ice cream is tough.
Okay.
Oh my God, that pool. Oh. We need some close-ups. We need close-ups.
Whoops. I'm just gonna get ice cream everywhere. This is fine.
Yes.
Do you want to lick this?
Oh, what?
I'm not gonna get the ice cream off of it enough before it starts melting. All right, I'm just gonna set it down on this plate and you can do what you will with this. Shit.
We
I
don't
need a
make
napkin.
mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Also, I hate these napkins. It's literally dripping. Okay. Stepped on something. There's something on the bottom of my shoe that does not feel comfortable.
Push the ice cream machine out of the way.
Is that good? What
Push
is
the
on
ice
my
cream
shoe?
machine out of the way.
Is this good? I can't see where I am. Is that good? That's not in frame. I can't, it's too heavy. It's like, I can't even tell. Here? Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Yes.
Oh my God. I can't imagine not being able to pull this basket out. Like, how
Yeah,
do
how
you
would you
even
get
scoop?
ice cream out of a ice cream maker that doesn't
How do you
have a-
clean it?
Yeah, like
That just sounds nuts. All right, I'm gonna stop this there so that I can eat whatever's left in here, which is quite a bit. Yum. Also, I totally needed more plates, and this paper towel is the worst paper towel in the world.
why do they make it harder to rip? No one wanted that.
I hate it. Okay, let's get this in the deep freezer. Oh, actually, I probably can't fit it there. Let's get this into a freezer. Where'd the lid go?
Under the ice cream maker.
Under the ice cream maker? Bro. And voila. Actually, I could probably do like a little scoop for you guys real quick. I don't know how to do the whatever they're called, quenelles, and also this spoon is not hot, so it won't do it anyway.
Too fast.
Whee! We're just melting. I need to get this into the deep freezer. Whoa! I was not expecting the close-up.
Expecting.
Expecting. Okay.
Huh?
Honestly, eat whatever's in this melting. It's actually melting and you're messing around with the camera. What are you doing?
Cinema. Cinema. Oh, what do we got? Oh, yeah. Waste not, want not. Boo, bring the other one back. Oh, it's so good. This man thinks he's Denis Villeneuve. I've been watching enough Dune. Going at it like a white on rice.
Oh, I just had the mic on for all that. I didn't think about it. Sorry.
What did y'all hear?
Just a bunch of slamming.
Premium OnlyFans content being given away for free.
I hope I didn't cuss. Did I cuss out when I was out there? I don't think I did. I think I was quiet. Just melting everywhere. You drinking it? So good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We're good?
Excellent. Never better.
Oh no, Hermione. Hermione.
Man's drinking it out of the bucket.
Snape, Severus Snape.
Dumbledore. What is that from? Just something like
It's like old school YouTube. Like the golden age of YouTube.
2009. Potter Puppet Pals. Of course, chat knows the answer because they're on the internet all the time.
Yep.
Sickos.
You were quiet, no cursing? Okay, good.
Severus Snape.
Sometimes cursing comes out when I'm trying to maneuver things in that deep freezer.
Snape.
Because everything's stacked downwards and it's like
There
hard
is-
to...
That freezer is 99.3% full of stuff.
It is very full right
and
now.
0.7% full of air.
Yes. But that's good. That means that everything stays cold.
Yeah, and it's really easy to maneuver. Dumbledore.
I feel like...
What are you missing?
I feel like I had that... Where's that little... Oh, God. I'm just completely blind. Oh, there's still active ice cream in this.
Active ice cream.
I thought you drained it.
I tried.
Okay.
Keep meaning to build little shelves for my freezer because I hate digging into stacks.
Yeah.
Big same, but what do you?
Yeah.
What would you throw in there? I wonder if they make like deep freezer like organization silos. Like it would have to be. I don't know. There's so many different sizes of things in there.
Yeah. Active ice cream as opposed to lazy ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Melted.
Science words. Ready?
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us today.
We're gonna end the stream. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, while the alerts are off, you got 5,000 bits from a real human being. W Beans in chat.
Thanks, Bean.
Says all those bits need to go to you, not me.
Got it.
So I'll give you a $5,000 bill later.
Wait, no, that's not how that works. It's not $5,000.
No.
That would be absolutely insane. Please, nobody ever waste that kind of money. That's stupid.
It's to fund the move out of Florida.
Unless you're a billionaire.
It's to fund the move out of Florida.
That's true. The move out of Florida is très importante.
I don't speak that language.
You don't speak either of those languages. That was two different languages. You guys have fun laughing? Good. Good, good, good. Can we raid Dr. Lupo? I guess that's up to Lep. Yeah, technically that was French and Spanish. Lepo, do we want to raid Lupo? You're just gonna end stream. We're just ending stream, but you're welcome to leave this when this channel ends, closes down, turns off, however it works. you're welcome to go over and say hello. Tell them Left sent you. We get an impromptu, unofficial rating party. Yep. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming. Thank you for enjoying. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know, just being chill, being good people. Appreciate it. The internet is a shitty place, and I'm very glad that we found a good group of people to be in our corner of the internet. So appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. If anybody's interested, the next recipe that we are cooking, we're going to do some like Italian American meatballs and tomato sauce. I don't think I'm gonna make pasta go with it. I think I'm literally just gonna like shovel meatballs and sauce into my mouth when they are done, because this will actually be a recipe that can be finished and eaten on camera, which I'm very excited about. But we are gonna do meatballs and tomato sauce for the next recipe, and that will be on October 6th is the first Sunday in October. And that will, I think I have it set at 11 a.m. Eastern for a start time for that as well. So I will hopefully see you then, and we'll have a good time. See, Lep will see you guys on Monday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Sorry, I love you. Definitely on time. Definitely on time. Yeah. We're winking? I don't know. Does that look, it just looks like I have a spasm.